prop bets for games, races, tournaments, or any sporting event. Sports Grid Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 159.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have it taken. Don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, this show has never changed. We're just back home. And it's great to be there. Sirius 161, XM 206. See you there.
Let the games begin.
On Sirius XM, you get all the sports play-by-play you want and all the live sports talk you need. It's always a home game when you listen to the NFL, NHL, NBA, and MLB on the Sirius XM app.
How good is that?
We fuel your fandom with NASCAR, the biggest college games, PGA, and soccer. And when news breaks, hear instant reaction.
We got a big developing story out of Cincinnati.
The Sirius XM app. Everything a sports fan needs, all in one place. It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the Sirius XM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable.
Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Just search for your favorite club.
This is Dave LaGreca, creator of the biggest pro wrestling show on the planet, Busted Open. Don't miss myself and my Hall of Fame cast and crew as we break down every story in and out of the ring and talk to the top names in the business, like the legend himself, The Undertaker.
I'm actually glad to be on a real show.
Catch Busted Open live every day from 9 to noon Eastern on Sirius XM Fight Nation, Channel 156, and on the Sirius XM app.
In season or out of season, the number one place for college sports is Sirius XM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
This
Slams the ball to right field. Way back. Way gone.
is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Low rounding and heading for second. The throw. In time.
On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The Blue Jays look to avoid a sweep today as they get going again in Flushing, New York against the New York Mets in Game 3 of the first road series of the season. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Joe Ali, our host, and hosting postgame with Julia Kreutz. Nick Blackmore, our producer. Tom Young is our technical director. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Hyde Park and North and South London. Crown is proud to be Canadian-owned and operated since 1986. So protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rust Control Center or visit crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. It was a heartbreaking loss for the Blue Jays yesterday, who led 2-0 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th before falling 3-2 on a walk-off sac fly by Francisco Lindor in the 9th inning. With the vibes a little bit down right now, they go to the guy that seems to always turn it around for the Blue Jays. It's Bowden Francis on the hill for Toronto today. He'll take on David Peterson with first pitch coming up in just a couple of minutes. We'll have lineup standings more on the other side. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Barry, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year?
Obviously, it's because of Armstrong Bird Food.
I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something.
Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all.
So all this time, you've been chasing snacks?
Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at ArmstrongBirdFood.com.
Here at Home Hardware's Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno sale, everyone's saving on everything they need to tackle their reno project. Like bringing their living room into this century with 25% off Canadian-made Beauty Tone Pure Interior and Specialty Paint. Or tackling that bathroom reno with up to $200 off Max shower units. That's better. Earn and redeem Scene Plus points during the Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno sale. On now at Home Hardware and Building Centers.
Did you know you can get home and away feeds for every MLB, NHL, and NBA game on your phone?
3 for the win. He got it!
Every game, all season. It's all on the SiriusXM app.
It's out of here!
Sports, the way they're meant to be heard. With your hometown announcers just a tap away.
It is gone! An incredible finish!
Search for your team and tap the plus sign to add it to your library. Every game, all season. Get closer to your team with the SiriusXM app.
Shoot, he scores!
You want baseball? The doggy has you covered. Tune in to Mad Dog Unleashed for the best baseball coverage anywhere. Weekdays 3 to 6 Eastern. SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Happy Bowden Francis Day. And a happy Bowden Francis Day to you. Another 2-2. Called, strike 3. Splitter on the outside corner. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Went back to the splitter and gets to Young to end the inning. The 1-2. Foul tip, strike 3. Went back to the heater on the outside edge. Third K of the day for Bowden Francis.
Stuff felt good. I felt like I had good command with the fastball, and it just opened up a lot of things. Allowed me to get ahead, and then allowed me to kind of pitch backwards too at times. But yeah, fastball command was a big key for me today.
Bowden Francis off to a good start to his season after the impressive outing against the Washington Nationals. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Happy Bowden Francis Day again. It was the most entertaining days of 2024, often for the Blue Jays. He picked up where he left off. No hitting the Nationals through 5 in 2025, and now he tries to do it again in New York against the Mets and help the Blue Jays avoid a sweep.
Well, I'll tell you the biggest difference between his last start against Washington and any of his starts really last year in 2024. He was commanding the fastball. You heard him after that start. The biggest thing that he did in that start was command that fastball. It wasn't the curveball. It wasn't the split finger. He was locating that fastball wherever he wanted to. And that's really the key for any pitcher. We talked about it with Chris Bassett last night. He was locating the fastball, and look at his box score to end the ball game. But Bowden Francis really, really surprised me with just how well he was commanding that fastball last game. Hopefully we see a lot of the same today.
He'll take on David Peterson, but before we get there, let's go back to our studio with today's host, Show Ali.
Thanks very much, guys. Welcome back inside Baseball Control. Show Ali with you at our downtown Toronto studios. First pitch in Queens at Citi Field, just a few minutes away. So let's check out the Bet365 standings update. At Bet365, you can bet on popular markets like hits, home runs, and total bases. Download the app. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. So after last night's games, because of course many of the AL East games were finished by the time the Blue Jays had finished, thanks to the Saturday night game. Here are the standings in the American League East. The Yankees, they are 6-2. The Blue Jays, of course, are 5-4. Both the Red Sox and the Rays are 4-4, although the Red Sox were idle yesterday after getting rained out, so they are going to bring in their doubleheader essentially now at Fenway Park. Rays are 4-4. The Orioles are 4-5. And again, first pitch of that Red Sox game will start in moments. Before we get you over to Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue, who, of course, are standing by for the call of today's ball game, let's get to the starting lineups. Here's John Schneider's lineup, again, for the series finale in Citi Field. Bo Bichette is batting leadoff. He is at shortstop. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is batting second at first base. Anthony Santander was a DH day yesterday for him. He's in right field today, batting third. Batting cleanup, Andres Jimenez at second base. Alejandro Kirk is batting fifth. He is DHing. Ernie Clement is batting sixth. He's at third base. Batting seventh is Davis Schneider. He's in left field. Tyler Heineman is catching. He's behind the dish, batting eighth. And batting ninth is Miles Straw. He is in center field. No George Springer, of course, after the game yesterday. And, of course, George Springer removed from the game after crashing into the right field wall, that chain link fence. Lower back spasms, it was said, from John Schneider for George Springer. And earlier today, Keegan Matheson of MLB.com, who's at Citi Field, saying that Springer did look good and taking some pregame warm-ups, and I think the the verbiage was they'll see how he feels going forward. But still, no George Springer in this game as expected. Bowden Francis is on the mound for his second start of the season. For the Mets, Carlos Mendoza's lineup. It's actually the exact same lineup as yesterday, but if you did forget, here's what it looks like. Francisco Lindor is batting leadoff. He's at shortstop. Juan Soto is batting second. He's in right field. Pete Alonso is batting third. He is at first base. Brendan Nimmo batting cleanup. He is in left field. Jesse Winker, he who tied the game in the eighth and had 2 triples in that game. He is batting fifth. He's DHing today. Mark Vientos is at third base batting sixth. Brett Beatty is batting seventh at second base. Jose Siri is batting eighth. He is in center field. Hayden Senger with Luis Torrens still dealing with that right forearm contusion. He is batting ninth. He is catching. And the southpaw, David Peterson, will start for the Mets. All right, we are just about a minute or two away from first pitch in Queens. Let's get you over to the call of the game. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. Getting set for Game 3 of this series. Blue Jays and Mets at Citi Field. The Mets have won each of the first 2, outscoring Toronto 8-2 so far. But we'll see Bowden Francis try to correct that for Toronto today. Get them in the win column against David Peterson, left-handed starter for the New York Mets, a sinker baller who got off to a nice start to his year at Miami on the 31st. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 9 punch-outs. His only blemishes were a pair of solo homers in that game, and he looks to keep this Mets rotation rolling. It's been really good so far.
Yeah, he's not really overpowering. The sinker is just 92 miles an hour, but he has a good changeup, a pretty good feel for the slider that he throws 14% of the time. But again, this is one of those guys that you can jump on early. You can, if you get your pitch, you make a good swing and you can barrel it up. And the Blue Jays have struggled to score runs in this series. They really need to jump on Peterson early.
Peterson, the 20th overall pick by the Mets out of Oregon in 2017, getting warmed up right now. Mets in their white uniforms with blue pinstripes, blue font with an orange trimming around it. The Blue Jays will be in their road grays. Peterson, a guy who in college had a 20 strikeout game against Arizona State, but he was a different kind of pitcher then. Wasn't a big sinker ball guy even a couple years ago. He's now embraced that a little bit more, and he can kind of mix in the pitch to contact and strikeout approach as he needs it.
And he's a big dude, 6'6", 240 pounds from the left side. So you have to imagine that 92 seems a little bit harder, maybe like 93, 94, maybe even 95.
Bo Bichette settling into the righty box. We're getting ready to go. Wet day in New York again, although not affecting the baseball so far. Glad to have no delays as the first pitch comes in and lands in the zone to Bichette. Strike one. Time of the first pitch is 1:40 Eastern. It's 12 degrees in New York at the time of first pitch and cloudy. 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2. In 9 games, Bichette 12 for 38 on the year, .316 average, 3 doubles. The 0-2. Swing and a foul off to the right.
I like what Bo Bichette's doing right now. Not a ton of slug. But like I said yesterday, eventually that's going to come. Eventually he's going to start hitting doubles in the gap and eventually some homers.
Another 0-2. Outside with a changeup. So it's sinker, four-seamer, change slider, curve for David Peterson. Going to see more of the fastball and changeup to the right-handed hitters. 1-2 pitch is hit back to the mound. Picked up on a bounce by Peterson. Underhand flip to first. 1 out.
And there's that sinker. Had Bo Bichette reaching over the middle of the plate. Started down the middle, broke away. It's a tough pitch against a right-handed hitter.
Nice start to this first inning for Peterson. A first inning that's brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Armstrong Bird Food, the reason birds fly north, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Visit ArmstrongBirdFood.com. Pitch to Guerrero. High ball 1. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is 10 for 35 to start his season. 286. 1-0. Inside 2-0. Similar start to Bichette. 3 doubles, 4 RBIs. Has not been a terrible start, but has not been a fantastic start either. The 2-0. Called strike on the outside edge.
Yeah, and I like the way he's starting to see the baseball taking those tough pitches on the outside part of the plate, even off the plate outside, swinging at pitches on the inner third.
Swings and hits a ground ball up the middle, fielded by the second baseman Beatty. Time to throw on to first for the out.
And right on cue, swings at a changeup off the plate outside. Hits a little weak ground ball to second base.
So Guerrero 0 for 1 to start his day. 2 quick outs on the ground for David Peterson and Anthony Santander to hit. Switch hitter will bat from the right side against the southpaw Peterson. First pitch strike, 0-1. Home plate ump today is Doug Eddings at first base, Mike Malinsky. Gabe Morales at second, Emil Jimenez at third. The 0-1. Swing and a ground ball hit right at Lindor at short. Shuffles and throws to first to end the inning. 3 ground balls for David Peterson in the top of the first. No score as Bowden Francis takes the mound next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Enter Night Mode.
It's a stylish Friday night in the city.
Every Friday home game.
No doubter.
Where we celebrate everything that makes our city one of a kind.
Anything that counts.
Would you always feel like part of the show? On Friday, April 18th, be at the ballpark early and get your Blue Jays City Connect Bomber Jacket giveaway presented by Enercare. The first 50,000 fans will be geared up for spring nights in the city. City Connect Fridays. Night Mode. Lights up. Let's go. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
Timber Mart. Locally owned, proudly Canadian. Your home team advantage with the right materials and the right price. Project know-how that's brought together a wealth of plans and solid advice. Trust your team at your locally owned Timber Mart. Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
Breaking news coming in from at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
That ball is gone. Third home run in 4 batters for the Blue Jays.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Bottom of the first inning, no score between the Blue Jays and the Mets. Francisco Lindor stepping up to the plate to take on Bowden Francis in the right-hander's second start of the year. 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs against Washington for Francis on the 31st of March. 6'5" righty into the wind and his pitch. Lindor squares to bunt, pops it up foul. It'll get into the netting down the third base side, 0-1.
Well, Ernie Clement was playing back, and Francisco Lindor saw that. Such a smart player, tried to lay down that bunt, sneak a base hit in there.
Lindor, the hero yesterday, came up with the sac fly that won it for the Mets, the 0-1. High and outside. Francis digging his foot in to the third base side of the rubber. Twist back, deals. Check swing on a pitch up, appeal down to third. He didn't go, 2-1.
Not a bad pitch. I like that fastball at the top of the strike zone, inner third. Tough for a good hitter to get to. You can see Francisco Lindor was relatively uncomfortable trying to swing at that baseball.
Now the 2-1. Splitter hit in the air to left field shallow. Clement racing back, and it'll bounce off the tarp in foul territory. 2-2. Bowden Francis, the 28-year-old Floridian, coming off an 8-5 season, a 3.30 ERA, and just over 100 innings pitched. Starter in the second half, really got going end of July, start of August. His 2-2. Fastball swatted to right field. That's a base hit for Lindor. He reached way up there to get on top of that baseball, and it's a leadoff single.
It's almost like he was expecting that fastball. Not a terrible pitch. 94 well above the strike zone, but Lindor was able to get on top of it and hit a good line drive to right field.
So a runner on first, nobody out. Juan Soto to the plate. And the pitch from Bowden Francis. Curveball, strike one. By the way, we'll do an early look to the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. 100% Canadian-owned and operated since 1992. Catch the new menu starting April 8th. Visit stlouiswings.com for details. You are welcome. Next pitch outside and low, 1-1. Washington Capitals playing against the New York Islanders right now, and history has been made. Alexander Ovechkin just scored in the second period for the Capitals to break Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record as Francis misses up and away to the former National Soto, 2-1. 895 career goals now for Alexander Ovechkin. Not too far away from where the Blue Jays are right now in New York against the Islanders with Gretzky in the building. 2-1 to Soto. Is hit on the ground to third. Picked up Clement. Flips to Bichette for one. Over to first. 5-6-3 double play. 2 down.
Do you know how far Queens is from Long Island? I don't know the...
It's more of a train.
Okay. But I don't know New York that well.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I gave you an actual estimate, but it's not that far. If you wanted to get there on the LIRR, something like that.
Well, you know more than I do because I don't even know what that is.
You can get to the Long Island train from the subway, so you can figure it out. 2 outs, nobody aboard, and the pitch to Pete Alonso is a fastball inside, ball 1.
How about Bowden Francis doubling off Juan Soto? A big at-bat.
Got him on a fastball in the zone, too. No score in this game, bottom of the first. Nobody aboard with 2 outs for Pete Alonso. The 1-0. Swing and a miss, called strike rather, pardon me. Looked like a swing, kind of looked like a ball, but it's 1-1 either
That
way.
was a really awkward swing from Pete Alonso. Good four-seam fastball off the plate outside.
The wind and the 1-1. Hit foul, 1-2. By the way, on that St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, it was a patented Ovechkin on the off wing, the wing that he's played for so long, from the top of the circle, wrist shot through traffic, and a headlong dive, almost like Theo Fleury back in the day, across the ice. And they've stopped that game. Full ceremony going on right now. 1-2 to Alonso. It hits him up on the left forearm, maybe actually more toward the tricep. Alonso aboard on an errant splitter with 2 outs.
Yeah, it looked like that split finger just kind of slipped out of those fingers. They were trying to come down and in. It's really hard to get on top of that split finger to a righty as a right-handed pitcher and throw that thing down and in. Bowden Francis just lets it go. No intent there, obviously. The crowd booing, but that's just what they do in New York.
So runner on first, 2 outs. And Brandon Nimmo up to the plate for the Mets. No score, bottom of the first inning. Left-handed hitter Nimmo looking out at Francis, who kicks and deals. And the fastball's hit back foul, 0-1.
We were doing the math earlier on if anybody can potentially catch Ovi.
Which seems very unlikely.
It's daunting.
Well, and here's what we'll say, and I have your backup that I'm not being biased because you're more of a Canadians guy. I'm, of course, on the Leaf side. Austin Matthews probably has the best shot of anyone. 0-1 pitch is hit high in the air, middle of the infield. Bo Bichette behind the second base bag makes the catch and ends the inning. A scoreless bottom of the first for Bowden Francis around a hit and a hit batter, 1 left on base. No scores, we go to the second. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Alert the press!
We are the press. Page 6 Radio, a brand new show, is on SiriusXM.
I'm Danny Murphy.
I'm Evan Real. And I'm Ian Moore, editor at Page 6, the New York Post's iconic celebrity news column.
We're your backstage pass to the hottest pop culture and entertainment stories you won't find anywhere else.
We're breaking stories before you've even had your first mimosa.
It's iconic, legendary, everything. Page 6 Radio, weekdays at 8 a.m. East, only on SiriusXM Stars, Channel 109,
and on the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues.
Hey, baseball fans, Blue Jays fans from all over the world. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this afternoon, this evening, whatever time it may be, all over the world where you're watching. Thank you for hanging out with us. Please take the time to help us get more fans here in the chat. And how do you do that? You hit the like button, exit out of the chat, smash that like button, and then click to share and send it out to all your friends that are Blue Jays fans on social media. We'll get more and more Blue Jays fans coming into the chat, and then YouTube will send us out even more because they see everybody coming in from those shared links. We'll see you back in the chat. Go, Jays, go. Come on, Vladdy and Bo and the rest of the Jays. It's time to get winning.
Ordinary at Bet365, 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. Andres Jimenez leads off, takes a first pitch strike from David Peterson. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. No score between the Blue Jays and the Mets. Next pitch to Jimenez, misses down and away with a slider, 1-1. The 1-1. Swing and a grounder foul, 1-2.
It's a pretty good slider from Peterson. You could tell that was an effective pitch because Andres Jimenez was way out in front of it.
Jimenez hitting .265, 3 home runs, 2 doubles. The 1-2. Swing and a foul to the left. You know, Chris, a lot of focus during the game yesterday on pitching, guys who were in one spot or another, how they fared. 1-2 pitch is hit on the ground to third, picked up by Vientos, snap throw to first, just gets Jimenez 1 down. But the Blue Jays have scored 2 runs total in this series. They're going to need to do a whole lot more on this side if they're going to avoid the sweep.
Well, I think the biggest thing is if you're not coming up with the big hit, if you're not hitting that big bases clearing double in the gap, you have to play small ball. You have to get them on, move them over, and get them in. And I think that's probably what the Blue Jays might do today against a tough pitcher in Peterson.
Alejandro Kirk DHing today, takes a strike 0-1. Blue Jays have very much reworked their lineup today with a left-handed starter in. They have loaded up on right-handed hitters. 0-1 pitch high, 1-1. The only exception being George Springer, who appears to have avoided any significant injury, but is out of the lineup today after slamming into the wall yesterday. 1-1. Down and in, 2-1. The wind in the pitch. Swing and a foul off, 2-2. I'd say probably even more emphasis or what pressure or whatever you want to call it on the top 5 in the order today. Hitters 6 through 9 are not everyday players. Ernie Clement at 6 plays most days for the Blue Jays. 2-2 is outside, full count. And then you have Davis Schneider, Tyler Heineman, and Miles Straw, the 3 who have, really kind of rotated in and out so far this season. Payoff pitch to Kirk. Swing and a hard grounder through the whole right side and into right field for a base hit. That's a good start to this inning for the Blue Jays. They get a single with 1 out.
And that's what he's so good at. When Alejandro Kirk is seeing the baseball really well and he's making good decisions up there, he's able to just shoot that hole on the right side. A really good swing from him. I'd love to see more of that in the future.
First hit of the day for the Blue Jays, and Ernie Clement up to the plate with 1 out. Peterson looking at first, deals home. Low ball 1. Second start of the series for Clement. He was at the hot corner 2 days ago for the Blue Jays, went 0 for 3. The 1-0. Outside 2-0.
It's a good take. Ernie Clement nodding his head, telling himself that was a good take. There's a big hole on the right side of that infield. Brett Beatty, the second baseman, is shaded almost up the middle. And then Pete Alonso's holding on Alejandro Kirk at first.
2-0 to Clement. Outside ball 3. You rarely see Ernie Clement look at 3 straight pitches, but he's got himself in a nice count, 3-0.
I would imagine he doesn't have the green light here. It's a good time to take a walk.
The pitch. Well outside, ball 4. Saw a little bit of this from Peterson in his first start. He did walk 3 in 6 innings, but those were big misses to an aggressive hitter.
Yeah, there really wasn't any chance that Ernie was going to be swinging at any of those pitches, especially that last one. It was 3 or 4 balls off the plate outside. And I mean, I said he had the red light there, 3-0. And it's really hard when you know a hitter is taking all the way to throw a strike right down the middle. And David Peterson nowhere near the zone there.
So 2 on, 1 out. Davis Schneider up. Peterson's pitch. Called strike. Schneider 0 for 8 to start his year. 2 walks. He has struck out 5 times. No score in the top of the second in the 0-1. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Been a well-documented tough start to the year for Schneider, but very inconsistent playing time so far. The 1-1. Outside 2-1. He's only had a handful of starts, and often when he's come off the bench, the Blue Jays have been asking him to come up with an extra base hit in a big spot. The 2-1. Swing and a miss. Tied up by the high heater, 2-2.
And keep in mind, those guys that are coming off the bench, they're not coming off the bench in the 4th inning. They're coming off the bench in a big spot in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, facing the best guys out of the visiting teams or whatever team you're playing against bullpen. It's a big ask.
The kick and the 2-2. Hit foul. I mean, Davis's job over the last 9 games has been study the nastiest lefties that can come up. That's your job. He told me a couple days ago, before a series, he's going to specifically look into and get information on all the lefties that a team has. 2-2 again. Low ball 3.
It's a good take right there. Tough slider. Looked like a strike, and it kind of broke below that strike zone. It's a big pitch right here for Davis Schneider.
Kirk on second, Clement on first, 1 out, no score, top of the 2nd inning. Peterson in the set, looks at second, and fires. Swing and a high pop up down the right field line. It's going to get out of play, foul.
And you would imagine David Peterson wants to throw something in the strike zone here. He's probably not going to take a chance and throw, or at least try to throw something out of the strike zone. So if you're Davis Schneider, you're really zeroing in on your pitch and fouling off anything that's outside of that.
3-2 again. Called strike 3. Backdoor slider got him. 2 down.
And that's the pitch that you probably don't want to hit. That's not the pitch that you're going to do damage on, but in a 3-2 count, 2 strikes on you, you have to at least attempt to foul that pitch off. Not a bad pitch from David Peterson there.
First strikeout of the day for Peterson. 2 on, 2 out. Tyler Heineman up in his 3rd game of the season. The pitch. Outside. Switch inning Heineman bats from the right side. He's 3 for 7 to start his year. The 1-0. Low 2-0.
And the Blue Jays can't rely on Tyler Heineman for the rest of the season. They can't rely on Miles Straw. They can't rely on Davis Schneider.
But you'll take it when you can get it.
You'll take it.
The 2-0. Called strike. Heineman actually with a brief stint in the Mets organization, not listed anywhere officially because he never played a game for them, majors or minors. The pitch. Swing and a hard ground ball hit to third. Bobbled by Vientos, but he's got a force out at third. He gets the ball back and steps on the bag to end the inning. No runs on a hit, no errors, 2 left for the Blue Jays. No score, middle of the second. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Barry, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year? Obviously, it's because of Armstrong bird food. I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something. Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all. So all this time, you've been chasing snacks? Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at armstrongbirdfood.com.
Sportsnet Plus is the streaming home of the Blue Jays.
Oh, what a catch!
Stream over 150 Blue Jays games all season long.
You won't see this anywhere else.
Including pre- and post-game coverage with Jamie and Joe on Blue Jays Central.
One of the best in the game right here.
Watch all the Blue Jays action wherever you are, at home or on the go.
Don't you love baseball?
Plans start from $24.99 a month.
We are good to go.
Subscribe at sportsnetplus.ca.
Drywall, an essential part of many, many projects. It's important to get it right and start with quality materials. Essentials you'll always find competitively priced at Timber Mart, like CGC, a recognized giant in the drywall industry for over 100 years and leading Canadian manufacturer of gypsum drywall. Well established and reputable, building pros and contractors know CGC, and you get exactly what the best builders trust. That's as sexy as drywall gets. Timber Mart, Canada's building center.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Marshall smashes the ball to right field.
It's gone! On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bowden Francis back on the hill for the bottom of the second inning. No score, Blue Jays and Mets. I'm Ben Schulman next to Chris LaRue for this Sunday matinee. Thanks so much for tuning in. Nick Blackmore, our producer, Tom Young, our technical director, and Show Ali, our host today. Second inning of work for Bowden Francis. Gave up a single and hit a batter in the first, but never let anyone into scoring position. He got a double play ball right after the single. Got off to a nice start. His pitch to Jesse Winker. Called strike.
I bet Jesse Winker wants that pitch back. 91 right down the middle.
If it was yesterday, Winker would be on third base right now. He had 2 triples and a double yesterday. The 0-1. Chopped it off of his front leg. It's 0-2.
And I've said this 1,000 times, but there has to be some deception, something that we're missing, something that we are not picking up on, because it's not every day you see a guy throw, especially a right-handed pitcher, throw 91, 90 miles an hour, and guys are just missing at those four-seam fastballs.
0-2. Popped up. Middle of the infield. Heineman called off by Guerrero, sprinting in to make an underhanded catch. 1 out. That ball in between the mound and the plate, and Vladdy playing back with the left-handed hitting Winker up had to come a long way. Ernie Clement was starting to run across the mound to try to get there, but Vladdy got there in time to make sure Heineman didn't have to make a tough catch.
Well, I'll tell you what, the easiest play probably would have been Bowden Francis. He was right underneath that thing. Obviously, you don't want a pitcher catching a pop-up like that, but really nobody in the infield, including Tyler Heineman, had an easy play at that pop-up.
The pitch to Mark Vientos. Curve, strike one. You mentioned, though, the continued success of Bowden Francis, and for those who don't recall, September 11th of last season, Blue Jays hosting the Mets at Rogers Center, 0-1. Called low, perfect fastball, just a brutal pitch to not get called a strike. It's 1-1. But last year on September 11th, Francis, for the second time in a matter of weeks, takes a no-hitter to the 9th inning, and it was against the New York Mets. Was broken up with a solo home run from Francisco Lindor, but that was part of the legendary run for Francis, nearly no-hitting New York, a playoff team. The wind and the 1-1. Vientos lines the ball over third base and into left field. Schneider picks up the rolling baseball and gets it back in. It's a single with one out for Mark Vientos.
Not a bad pitch from Bowden Francis. Just a slow breaking ball at the bottom of the strike zone. Vientos does a good job staying back and then just flicking that bat, hitting a good line drive into left field. But correct me if I'm wrong, the pitch that Francisco Lindor hit out to break up that no-hitter, was that a fastball up above the strike zone? It was a lot like the one that he hit earlier in this ballgame.
Sounds familiar. I'll have to go look at it for sure, but I can get that up in a sec. Runner on first, one out. The pitch to Brett Beatty is a splitter down low. Ball one. No score, bottom of the second. Francis from the stretch. The pitch. Foul tip. 1-1.
In case you were wondering, Ben, the Washington Capitals and the New York Islanders have yet to restart that game.
It's been deservedly so a lengthy ceremony in the middle of the game for Alex Ovechkin, breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals record. 1-1. Up and in, 2-1. By the way, so that Francis home run to Lindor, it was an elevated fastball. It wasn't above the zone like the one that Lindor singled on today, but it was a high fastball. Two-one pitch, called a strike, 2-2. You have to wonder, that one lower than the fastball that was called for a ball, but he'll take it.
Yeah, Beatty didn't like that one. Immediately looking over into that Mets dugout, seeing what their reaction is.
And it wasn't positive. Vientos on first with one out. No stolen base attempts this year for the third baseman for New York. Brett Beatty at the plate. The Mets second baseman batting left. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Went inside with a fastball, and he gets him for his first strikeout of the day.
Such a great pitch. You can tell that Beatty was thinking split finger there, down and away. He came in with the fastball. He's expecting something softer away, and then again, Bowden Francis just pounds that four-seamer in. There's not much you can do with that. Even if you make contact, you're just fouling that thing off.
Francis peeks over at Vientos on first, now looking into Jose Siri. Righty with a breath and the pitch. Fastball for a called strike. Siri 0 for 2 yesterday, but he did have 2 walks late, one in the 7th and one in the 9th. Scored the winning run on the Lindor sac fly. The 0-1. Hit foul. That was the splitter from Francis at 79. 0-2. Matchup right now of two guys with colorful beads and stone necklaces between Bowden Francis and Jose Siri.
I had no idea where you were going with that.
I barely knew. 0-2. Swing and a miss. Strike three. He got him on the heater. Back-to-back punch-outs for Bowden Francis. And around a one-out single, he pitches a scoreless bottom of the second. 0-0 as we go to the third. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
One of the best in the game at receiving the ball.
He's about as good of a strike zone controller as the Blue Jays have.
To a team of elite defenders, he is Captain Kirk, a game caller in unison with this pitcher.
Does he ever have a knowledge of the strike zone?
Framing pitches with precision and a steady hand.
Kirk's done it again.
Be one of the first 15,000 fans at the ballpark on Wednesday, April 30th to get your Alejandro Kirk bobble arm. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com. Lights up, let's go.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Middle in fastball, but he puts it by Cruz. 2 down.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the third inning, Blue Jays at Citi Field. No score between Toronto and New York. And the first pitch to Miles Straw in there, 0-1. 9-1-2 for the Blue Jays this inning. Straw, Bichette, Guerrero. The 0-1 in the dirt. Limited sample, but nice start to the year for Miles Straw. 4 for 11 with a double. Pardon me, 2 doubles. 1-1. Swing and a liner, foul ball just wide of the right field line.
I mean, that ball was just foul, but that's such a good approach, a good sinker away, and you could tell he was just trying to go with it. Missed a double by inches.
You can see they like the profile of Miles Straw with the bat maybe a little bit more than people thought. He got a start yesterday, and it wasn't a left-handed starting pitcher. Now he gets back-to-back starts with the Blue Jays facing the southpaw Peterson. 1-2. Breaking ball hit off the foot of Peterson, rolling toward right field. That's a base hit for Straw. Well, not exactly the way you draw it up, but that one pinballs off the pitcher, and Straw has a leadoff single.
Yeah, I don't know if David Peterson was trying to make contact with that baseball, but again, it's really hard to know where your infielders are positioned. Again, looking at the replay, the position players probably weren't in any position to make that play. But as a starting pitcher, when that ball is going by you, it's really hard to not reach out or to try to kick it or something, and David Peterson tries to kick it there.
So Straw on first, Peterson in the set, Bo Bichette at the plate, the pitch. Swing and a foul off 0-1. This third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Hyde Park in North and South London. Crowd is proud to be Canadian-owned and operated since 1986, so protect your vehicle from rust today at your local Crown Rust Control Center. Visit crown.com. Crown, Canada's #1 rust protection. The 0-1. Popped up, shallow right. Soto moving in and toward the line makes the catch, 1 out.
That's a tough pitch. After a good changeup by David Peterson, a four-seam fastball that just ate up Bo Bichette on his hands. Hitting a little weak fly ball to Juan Soto out in right field. That's a big out for the New York Mets.
Bo Bichette walking back to the Blue Jay dugout as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. steps up. The pitch. Called strike.
Oh boy, he was taken all the way there.
Perhaps because of the slide step of David Peterson, who worked him quick a little bit on the first pitch. .29-year-old Peterson sets at his chest, looks at first steals, and Guerrero hits it foul on the ground, 0-2.
I would love if Miles Straw can somehow get to second base with just 1 out in this inning.
Peterson staring at Straw, now the 0-2, and it's hit high. Left field. Going back, Winker, so is Siri, the center fielder, makes the catch in left center, and Siri fires it back in, 2 down.
Well, Vlad was right on that breaking ball, that slider. Sorry, it was a curveball from David Peterson, but just getting underneath it, you could see the frustration. As soon as he made contact, he slammed that bat down into the dirt. It's a big out for David Peterson.
Can someone understand the frustration? I mean, that's a pitch that when he's in midseason form, he's probably hitting out. That was a curveball right down the middle. Peterson gets away with it. Now his pitch to Santander. No, it's going to be a step off and throw over to check on Straw, who dives back in.
David Peterson probably thinking that Miles Straw will take off at some point during this at-bat. would tend to agree.
Peterson's pitch. Outside, ball 1. Straw can draw any attention away from Anthony Santander at the plate. Keep Peterson's mind occupied. That's a win in the Blue Jays' heads. The 1-0. Called strike, gets a favor from Doug Eddings, 1-1.
Santander didn't like that call. Not one to really argue, but you could tell that was a sour look on his face.
Peterson shaking off 3 pitches, 4th one in a row, and now he's ready to go. He only throws 5. The 1-1. Fastball almost hit him in the stomach. Santander jumped back out of the way, 2-1. This is the second day in a row that a Mets starter works with Hayden Sanger. Luis Torrens played yesterday, but still seems to be dealing with that right arm contusion. Step off and throw over again, and Straw back in again. Ball had skipped away just a foot or 2 from Alonso. He'll go to pick it up. So that's 2 disengagements used by Peterson, and now you can start to get a little more aggressive if you're Miles Straw.
Little bit more difficult though with a lefty on the mound. You don't want to just go first movement because they can still pick off.
What you might want to do is try and draw a throw. Make it seem like you left early, and then you can get yourself balked to second. The 2-1. Way outside, ball 3. Time called at the plate by Doug Eddings. 3 balls and 1 strike for Anthony Santander with 2 outs in the top of the 3rd and a runner on first. Blue Jays trying to get the bats going here in what's been a quiet offensive series. The 3-1. Outside, ball 4. Santander will take his team-leading 6th walk of the season, and Straw moves into scoring position with 2 outs.
That's a good at-bat from Anthony Santander, but that was a good thought from David Peterson. A 3-1 changeup. That ball was a strike. I'm sure Anthony Santander would have popped that thing up or hit a weak ground ball, but I like the approach.
Santander down to first, Straw at second, 2 outs. Andres Jimenez to the plate. Peterson with a look back and a left-on-left pitch. Called strike. Front door slider. Freezes Jimenez to make it 0-1.
Jimenez shaking his head. Didn't like that call. Caught the inside part of the black on the inside.
The 1-strike pitch. Hit foul, 0-2. Jimenez protecting now with 2 on and 2 out. No score, top of the 3rd. Peterson shakes off a sign, sets and looks at second. Now he kicks and deals. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 tied him up with the up and in fastball, and that's strikeout number 2 for Peterson in a 3rd scoreless inning. 0-0, middle of the 3rd. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Sports Grid Radio is covering the lines, odds, and props for every major sporting event. The Final Four.
Cinderella's a cute story. Cinderella always goes home at midnight.
MLB opening week.
They are stacked, and the Dodgers had that win total yesterday, posted at 103.5 for good reason.
And the NFL Draft and the Masters are on the horizon.
He's already sub 5-1 to win the green jacket.
If you're betting on it, we're covering it.
They're plus 320 price right now to win the World Series.
Sports Grid Radio, channel 159 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
VSiN, the sports betting network, is back on SiriusXM. Go to channel 158 for informed wagering and fantasy advice from familiar voices like Gil Alexander, Paulie Howard, and Mitch Moss. Plus, SiriusXM mainstays Adam Shine, Rich Gannon, and the guru, John Hansen. We're getting you ready for the upcoming games with a finger on the pulse of the latest news and the moving lines and odds. VSiN, the sports betting network, is now on SiriusXM 158 and on the SiriusXM app.
Baseball is
back. It's former general manager Jim Duquette, and every Sunday on the front office, we have you covered on everything happening across Major League Baseball.
That's right, Duke. It's former big league GM Jim Bowden. Injuries, extensions, promotions, demotions, and trades. We'll have you covered on all the news.
We'll bring you the front office perspective as the season heats up.
Front office with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. When it comes to home improvements, Timbermart has the expert advice and the right products at the right price, so you won't find yourself out in left field on your next DIY project. Game on, home team. Timbermart is Canada's building center. Alongside Chris LaRue, I'm Ben Schulman. No score, bottom of the third, and the number 9 hitter Hayden Senger up. The pitch from Francis. Inside, ball 1. Third major league start in the career of Hayden Senger, the 1-0. Down and away, 2-0. Currently 1 for 5 in his big league career. His one hit, a double. And he struck out twice. The 2-0. Outside, ball 3. And if you're Bowden Francis, you really have to attack Hayden Senger here when you have guys like Lindor, Soto, Alonso coming up after him.
Yeah, this is definitely not the guy you want to walk here in this situation.
3-0 pitch right down the middle, strike 1.
There you go. You know that he has or probably doesn't have the green light there in that situation. But again, like I said, when you know a guy is taking, it's really hard to throw that fastball right down the middle.
3-1 offering. Called, strike again, full count.
He was probably taken there too.
Wouldn't be shocked. Senger on the team because of the injury to Francisco Alvarez, who would usually be the starting catcher for New York. 3-2. Inside, ball 4, and that is a tough leadoff walk to issue.
Yeah, it's almost like he was trying to place that fastball. You could see him really reaching, trying to get that thing in the strike zone. And like you said, that's not a good walk in a situation where Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto are coming up next.
Lindor with a single to start the day. He's had hits in his first at-bat of all 3 games in the series, and he takes strike 1 on a curve. Now, he hasn't had any other hits in the series. He's been 1-4 in each of the previous 2 days, but he did come up with the game-winning sac fly. And he's starting to round into form after a difficult start to the season. He's now 5 for 26, so he's approaching that Mendoza line, trying to jump over. The 0-1. Swing and a hot shot foul down the right field line. 0-2.
Boy, he was right on that split finger. That split finger was middle, but he was just out in front of it a little bit.
He puts Francis in the driver's seat, though, with that foul ball. It's 0-2 for Bowden Francis. No outs, runner on first, and the pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 3. Threw a better splitter that time, and there's 1 out.
That was a really good split finger in a big situation, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking don't throw a 4-seam fastball at the top of the strike zone, because Francisco Lindor obviously hit that home run on a 4-seam fastball last year, and then he crushed that ball earlier on in the ball game on a 4-seam fastball at the top of the strike zone, or even above the strike zone. So that's a good pitch right there from Bowden Francis.
Wonder if it's more junk as Juan Soto comes up. The pitch, splitter low, ball 1. Soto this year, very early to be clear, but hitting .077 on non-fastballs. And you look back to last year, he's fantastic and nearly won an MVP. He wasn't great against non-fastballs. He lives a lot on crushing heaters. There's a heater up and into Soto, 2-0.
Soto staring out at Bowden Francis, and there actually was some intent with that fastball. He probably wanted to come in, make Juan Soto feel a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe not chin music like that, but you could see Tyler Heineman nodding his head after he caught that baseball.
The 2-0. Fastball popped up, back of the plate into the seats, 2-1.
Good pitch. Again, Juan Soto staring out at Bowden Francis, probably thinking, I should have crushed that baseball. 92 at the top of the strike zone, a good pitch to hit. But again, when you have that split finger in the back of your mind and a guy has just come in, whizzed one by your chin, it's tough to hit that pitch.
These are all the factors that have played into the success of Bowden Francis in the last 10 to 15 starts. 2-1. High and outside, 94, his hardest fastball of the day. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Velo's in there.
Maybe you reach back for a little extra when Juan Soto's up. First year of the 15-year, $765 million contract for Soto, which could actually be over 800 depending on certain factors. 3-1, inside ball 4. Soto takes a walk. Runners on first and second with 1 out. On that Soto deal, so everyone focuses on the 765, rightfully so. That's an insane amount of money. But he is an opt-out after 2029 unless the Mets activate a clause which adds $4 million more in salary to each season from 2030 to 2039. Then he would have no opt-out, and it would turn into a 15-year, $805 million deal. Soto's on first. On second base is Hayden Singer. The pitch to Pete Alonso. Splitter, called strike.
So essentially after the 20, is it before the 2029 or after? So after the 2029 season, the Mets will call his bluff. And they'll say, we're not adding the $4 million per season. It's up to you what you want to do.
Maybe.
He's not opting out of that contract.
Well, maybe he's getting another 800. The 0-1, way up and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Alonso had to spin away from that one. That was up near the forearm or tricep where he got hit last time. But yeah, probably not. I mean, we saw with less years and less money, Garrett Cole threatened to opt out this offseason, and the Mets called his bluff. 1-1 hit on the ground, past the dive of Bichette at short into center field. Coming around third, Singer scores. Soto goes first to third. Hits an RBI single for Pete Alonso, and it's 1-0 Mets.
And Juan Soto ends up at third base. The Mets have a pretty good rally going right now with 1 out in this inning. Runners on first and third. But this is what happens when you walk the leadoff hitter in an inning. You have to get Singer, and then you can go after Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto. But if you walk the leadoff hitter, how many times have we seen that guy come around to score? It's almost like it's automatic.
And especially the 9-hitter before the top of the order. That just does not bode well, regardless of the lineup you're facing. So the Mets strike first and have a chance to strike for more. First and third, 1 out. Alonso on first, Soto on third. Brandon Nimmo to the plate. The pitch to Nimmo. Hit in the air, left field. Schneider backing up, Soto tagging. Davis Schneider makes the catch. Soto is going to sprint to the plate and score as the throw goes into second. Sac fly for Nimmo, 2-0 for the Mets.
Good job from Nimmo lifting that fly ball out to the outfield. He knows exactly what he has to do in that situation. Get that fly ball deep, and Juan Soto scores the second run of the ball game for the New York Mets.
Soto into the plate. Jesse Winker coming up. 2 outs, runner on first. Let's get back to what we were saying. I mentioned Garrett Cole. He had a similar opt-out or add a year and more money with the Yankees this offseason. It was reported that he was going to opt out, and then all of a sudden it was reported that he had decided not to opt out after all. And reading between the lines, it felt pretty clear the Yankees were going to let him go if he didn't want the years and salary left on his deal.
Called his bluff. I like that.
The pitch to Jesse Winker, called strike, 0-1.
And like I said, I'm sure the very similar situation will happen after the 2029 season with Juan Soto and the Mets. Right on left, the 0-1 to Winker.
Hit on the ground, right side, foul, 0-2. The Mets, with the signing of Soto, have a long-term locked-up core with Lindor and Soto both going to be playing in Met uniforms, we think, into the 2030s, unless Soto does, in fact, opt out. 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Got him to chase the split in the dirt. That's a strikeout for Francis to end the inning. But the Mets get two after a pair of walks. Two in the first three batters faced. Alonso with an RBI single. Nimmo with a sac fly. It's 2-0 for the Amazons after 3 innings. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM. We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Food City 500
from Bristol Motor Speedway on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 in the car and on the SiriusXM app. For up-to-date betting lines, fantasy plays, and the latest NASCAR news, catch the pre-race show before every Cup Series race. Plus, 2 hours of post-race coverage on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Out of here! Go Hey Ohtani Connect!
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy basketball to getting you ready for the NFL Draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
We begin our quest for another championship right now. Winning is everything. It's all there is.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM. We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Food City 500
from Bristol Motor Speedway on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 in the car and on the SiriusXM app. For up-to-date betting lines, fantasy plays, and the latest NASCAR news, catch the pre-race show before every Cup Series race. Plus, 2 hours of post-race coverage on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. 24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
It's the fourth inning at Citi Field. Blue Jays down 2-0 to the New York Mets. Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. David Peterson misses low with a breaking ball to Alejandro Kirk to start the inning. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Kirk with a single to right in his lone at-bat, 1-0. Another breaking ball. That one drops in, strike one. A wind in the 1-1. Swing and a fly ball center field. Jogging over to left center, Jose Siri, two-handed catch. 1 out.
On the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, Nick Castellanos just hit a grand slam for the Phillies.
Potential NLCS preview series right now.
Oh, boy. It's probably electric right now in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Wow, what a swing.
He hit it off Alex Vesia, reliever for the Dodgers, in early. Tyler Glasnow exited early. Didn't see the exact reason, but first pitch down to Clement, misses up and away, ball one.
I looked down at the line briefly maybe 10 minutes ago, and he had thrown 24 balls out of 48 pitches, so he was really struggling to find the zone, yeah.
1-0 pitch called strike 1-1. But rather that than injury. They just lost Blake Snell, did the Dodgers. I know not many people feel bad for the Dodgers these days, but Glasnow oft injured but very talented, so good to see that it was likely just command. 1-1 to Clement, outside 2-1. It's 2-0 for the Mets over the Blue Jays in the top of the fourth. Get to some other out-of-town scores in a sec. Lefty Peterson kicks and deals. And Clement takes a strike, 2-2. Pirates hosting the Yankees right now after a big Yankees win yesterday. The Pirates are winning early on today. It's a 2-1 advantage for Pittsburgh in the bottom of the third. 2-2 to Clement, down and in, ball three. Two-run double from Brian Reynolds. Brought in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Ke'Bryan Hayes to give Pittsburgh the lead. 3-2 to Clement. Swing and a foul ball out of play right side. The scores right now, it's a doubleheader today for Boston and St. Louis. Red Sox hosting the Cardinals at Fenway Park. 3-2 once more. High, and Ernie Clement ditches the bat. Heads down to first with a walk.
That's a good at-bat right there. Obviously, that fastball there, nowhere near the strike zone. An easy take for Ernie Clement, but a big base runner here with just one out in this inning. I'd like to see him get to second base somehow with less than 2 outs.
It'll be Davis Schneider to hit for the Blue Jays. Tyler Heineman due up after him. First pitch to Schneider is outside, ball 1.
Now you really have to zero in on your pitch. You're ahead in the count 1-0. Do not swing at anything outside of that zone that you can do damage on.
The 1-0. Swing and a ground ball hit to third. Picked up Vientos. Throws to second for 1. Over to first. Double play. Time to roll over on the curveball at the bottom of the zone, and that'll do it, for the inning. The fly out, walk, and then ground ball double play. 2-0 for the Mets in the middle of the fourth. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Enter Night Mode.
It's a stylish Friday night in the city.
Every Friday home game.
No doubter.
Where we celebrate everything that makes our city one of a kind.
Anything that counts.
Would you always feel like part of the show? On Friday, April 18th, be at the ballpark early and get your Blue Jays City Connect bomber jacket giveaway presented by Enercare. The first 50,000 fans will be geared up for spring nights in the city. City Connect Fridays. Night Mode. Lights up. Let's go. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Breaking news coming at 5. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Called strike 3, change up at the knees, and there's nothing you can do about that pitch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The fourth inning is presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can watch thousands of live games, build your own bet, can even make a bet while the game's still being played. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. Mets 2, Blue Jays nothing. Bottom 4, Bowden Francis deals to Mark Vientos. Fastball called strike. Vientos with a hit his first time up, now 4 for 32 on the year. A 1. Down and away.
Bowden Francis just threw his 52nd pitch of the ball game here in the bottom of the fourth inning and nobody out.
Fairly efficient so far for Francis, but the 2 walks last inning hurt. 1-1. Inside 2-1.
I tell you what hurt is that leadoff walk, as we discussed. Can't have that happening.
Francis winds, kicks, steals. Fastball called strike, 2-2.
Good pitch. A lot of life through the strike zone. Almost looked like a little bit of a sinker. Pitch that he hasn't really thrown at all or much today.
It's 2-2. Called strike 3. Brought it back to the four-seamer. Drove it to the bottom of the zone, and he freezes Vientos for his 5th K today.
And that's what I always say. The hardest pitch to hit in baseball is a good fastball down and away. That one was right there, was pretty perfect. 91 down and away. Vientos just watches that pitch go by.
1 out, and Brett Beatty is up. Left-handed hitting second baseman. The pitch. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Beatty, the 12th overall selection by the New York Mets in 2019. 0-1. Hit foul, 0-2. Do you know who the 11th overall selection was in 2019? I'll give you a hint. It was a Blue Jay.
What year? 2019?
First round, 2019, 11th overall.
Is he currently with the Blue Jays?
Kind of.
I have no idea.
Alek Manoah.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't know what answer other than kind of fit, because yes and no. The 0-2. High, ball one.
I mean, you could have said he just had Tommy John and he's currently rehabbing in Dunedin, Florida.
Well, why don't I just spoon feed it to you then? The 1-2. Swing and a high fly ball, shallow left field. Charging in Davis Schneider makes the catch, 2 outs.
Bowden Francis looks like a different guy this inning. Really locked in, making good pitches, attacking the strike zone with his fastball. Something that he really didn't do last inning.
Gets Beatty for the second out. Nobody aboard. Jose Siri about to come up. Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Francis into the wind, the pitch. Siri foul tips at 0-1.
Really attacking with that fastball.
A 1. Downstairs. Can I bring you back to the 2019 first round, Manoah, Beatty? It's a good one. First overall, Adley Rutschman. Second overall, Bobby Witt Jr. The 1-1 to Siri. Swing and a miss, 1-2. You got J.J. Bleday, fourth overall, starting center fielder for the Athletics. Riley Green, fifth overall, all-star for the Tigers last year. C.J. Abrams, sixth overall, starting shortstop for the Nationals. Josh Young, Rangers third baseman in the World Series year, eighth overall. Shea Langoliers, Athletics starting catcher, went ninth overall to the Braves. Then you have Manoah, you have Beatty. Bryson Stott goes 14th overall. Corbin Carroll goes 16th overall.
My goodness.
George Kirby, great pitcher for Seattle, goes 20th overall. The 1-2. Swing and a fly out to right field. Charging in Santander. Sliding catch to end the inning. Flash in the leather is Anthony Santander, and he takes a hit away from Siri to wrap up the fourth. Scoreless frame for Francis, still 2-0 for the Mets as we go to the top of the fifth. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Feel the bass, ride the rhythm, and move to the dance hits and remixes that defined a generation in Utopia. A channel pulsing with 90s rave classics and iconic 2000s club anthems. Utopia. Channel 341 or at home on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Out of here! Go Hey Connect!
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy basketball to getting you ready for the NFL Draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
We begin our quest for another championship right now. Winning is everything. It's it. It's all there is.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the Sirius XM app.
I'm Mike Farron. If you're like me, you love baseball. You love talking baseball with your friends, and your partner on the radio is the former general manager of the Mets.
This is Jim Duquette. Join me and Mike weekdays at 10 Eastern for Power Alley on MLB Network Radio.
It's baseball, and more baseball. 100% in-depth baseball talk.
We spent an entire week once on pulled pork recipes.
It's 95% in-depth baseball talk on Power Alley. Weekdays, 10 Eastern, MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM Channel 89.
Jays fans, this is George Springer, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on Sirius XM.
George Springer, airborne, snatches it out of the sky.
Radio Network.
David Peterson back on the hill after 4 scoreless innings against the Blue Jays. He'll take on 8-9-1 here in the fifth. First pitch to Tyler Heineman was outside, but Doug Eddings says strike one, so it's 0-1. Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. The 0-1. Swing and a liner left field. Base hit. Bouncing toward the corner. Heineman tearing around first. He'll head into second with another extra base hit. His second in 3 games this season.
Well, a good job jumping on that hanging breaking ball from David Peterson. Hammered that thing into left field. I actually don't think it got to the wall, but it might be because the grass is so thick out there in left field.
It didn't quite make it. Nimmo got it right around the warning track, maybe on the warning track. But the first extra base hit of the day for the Blue Jays. Heineman on second. Straw squares to bunt and bunts it foul. 0-1, but there is some of that moving the runner that you were talking about earlier, Chris.
Yeah, I think John Schneider's seen enough. He wants that guy to get into extreme scoring position and move him from second to third. Normally you have a guy in scoring position with nobody out. Having him at second base is good enough, but John Schneider is not okay with that.
The 0-1. Swinging away now. Straw hits it foul, 0-2.
I don't mind that. You give him one chance to get him over, and then have a guy who's obviously seeing the ball pretty well right now just swing away.
Heineman on second, nobody out. Peterson, the lefty, looks back. One more peek. And the 0-2. In the dirt, blocked by Singer. How about Tyler Heineman, though? Has a home run, one of 5 that the Blue Jays have hit this year, and now a double. Was a question mark to make the team out of camp. A lot of talk about whether they should go out and get someone else, and he's had a very nice start. The 1-2. Straw fights it away to stay alive.
And he's throwing the baseball really well.
I think you said earlier, and it's true, they're not going to sit and rely on Tyler Heineman offensively, but they like what he brings as a catcher, and he's getting an opportunity to help them out a little bit on the other side as well. The 1-2. Swing and a liner foul. Straw really covering there. Reached out across the plate to hit a ball that was well outside into the netting, right side of the field.
If you look back at Tyler Heineman's minor league career, which started in 2012, so he's been around a long time. He's a career .278 hitter. That's not bad as a catcher.
1-2 again. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. No, and he's never really got enough extended run at the major league level to, I think, definitively say what he could be as a major league hitter. The most plate appearances he's ever had in a season was 174, and that's a huge outlier season. That's the only time that he's really done it. He's on second, 1 out. The pitch to Bo Bichette. Outside, ball 1.
Yeah, a lot like Davis Schneider. It's really difficult to come into a ball game once every, let's say, 4 days or so and feel really comfortable in the box. So for Tyler Heineman to be swinging the bat like he's swinging it right now, it's pretty impressive.
The 1-0. Swing and a liner foul. Left side, 1-1. There's also some connections to here mentioned in Heineman's last at-bat as Bichette hits now with 1 out and a runner on second. That Heineman briefly was with the Mets. The Mets picked him up off waivers December 1st, 2023 from the Blue Jays after some 40-man roster stuff had left him open. But they traded him away for cash to the Red Sox before last season. 1-1. Swing and a chopper to short. Heineman advances to third. Lindor throws on to first. 2 down. Also, though, we saw Tyler Heineman recently hit his second home run of his career. His first home run of his career came here at Citi Field, his debut season with the Marlins, with Miami down 2-0 in the 8th inning. He hit a pretty impressive home run off Zach Wheeler to tie a game for his first major league homer. And now he picks up his first double of the year here, but he's on third with 2 outs. Blue Jays still looking to get on the board. First pitch to Guerrero, way inside, ball 1.
How about that? Wouldn't have thought that you would throw Zach Wheeler at me like that. It's a tough guy to hit a home run off of.
And you figure Zach Wheeler's pitching in the 8th. He's having a pretty nice day that day. But Heineman got him with a left-handed home run, and then his home run with the Blue Jays, a right-handed home run. So he's officially hit 1 out from both sides in the majors. The 1-0. Swing and a foul back, 1-1.
So if you go back to 2012, he only has 47 career home runs. What is that, 13 seasons, 12 seasons?
2012 to now, 12 prior seasons. Actually, 13 previous seasons.
Almost 2,500 ABs in the minor leagues.
The 1-1. Inside, 2-1. Two nothing for the Mets. 2 outs. Heineman on third, top of the 5th. Guerrero's 0 for 2 today. The 2-1 pitch. Hit foul, 2-2.
Guerrero shaking his head right now. I mean, I can almost guarantee that he's probably upset with the fact that he actually swung at that pitch. You're ahead in the count, 2-1. You want something middle in, something you can drive, and he swung at that slider down below the strike zone, not the pitch that he wanted.
Chasing over 30% of the time to start this year, significantly up from last season. 2-2. Fouled back. Good job covering there. A perfect slider on the outside corner that Vlad had to reach out to hit into the netting. Heineman takes his lead in foul territory off third base. 2-2. Way up and away, ball 3.
And this is why having Anthony Santander protecting Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is so important. David Peterson has to give Vlad something he can hit here, or at least something in the strike zone.
3-2. Outside, ball 4. Guerrero flips away the bat and runs down to first base. Runners on the corners now for the Blue Jays with 2 outs.
Well, Peterson tried to flip that breaking ball in the strike zone, but left it out over the outside part of the plate, off the plate a little bit outside.
And interesting now, Jeremy Hefner, the pitching coach, coming out, but it looks like the trainers are coming out as well. David Peterson hunched over, hands on his knees. Didn't see anything until that pitch, but maybe tweaked something in that motion.
Yeah, it looks like a back injury. You're normally hunched over like that. Hands on your knees when you do something to the lower back. He's taking some deep breaths right now.
Just threw his 85th pitch. And he does not look very comfortable having those conversations right now on the mound. He never fully straightened back up from the delivery. He was leaning over, delivering the pitch, and then stayed leaning over with his hands on his knees. Looks like he's going to try and get a warm-up pitch in now and see if he's feeling all right.
Yeah, I've seen a few back injuries in my day, but that's generally the reaction when your lower back tightens up or something with that back tightens up. He's going to throw a warm-up pitch here, see how it goes.
Gave a thumbs up through one pitch in there. The clocked at 86 with a fastball, and he's feeling good to go. Met staff still discussing it, but he's adamantly saying, I'm good, thumbs up. I mean, in all likelihood, they probably take him out after this inning, maybe even this next batter with his pitch count where it is, with that situation, with a close game.
He's also in line for a win, so if I'm David Peterson, I don't want to come out of this ball game either.
One more out, and then you can take him back to the massage room and figure it out from there. Two outs, top of the 5th, first and third for the Blue Jays. Guerrero on first, Heineman on third. And with a 2-0 Mets lead, Anthony Santander comes to the plate. 0 for 1 today. A ground out and a walk. Peterson's pitch. Swing and a foul. Out of play right side, 0-1.
That was a pretty good pitch to do damage on right there. A little breaking ball out over the middle of the plate. Anthony Santander actually put a pretty good swing on it, just fouling it off to the right.
Peterson's got away with a few of those. Lefty looks at first, the 0-1. High with the heater. And those are the pitches that the Blue Jays are just not hitting out of the yard right now, that they'll likely need to score more consistently going forward. The 1-1. High and outside, 2-1.
Max Kranick's warming up in that Mets bullpen right now, but he would have likely been warming up anyways with that pitch count at 88 for David Peterson.
Kind of think whether this goes well or poorly, this is it for Peterson. The 2-1. Outside ball 3. No Mets starter this season has allowed more than 2 earned runs in a start, and Peterson so far has kept that going. He's only allowed 3 hits, although he has walked 3 as well, including Guerrero on first. Heineman is on third. 2 outs, 3-1 count to Santander. No better time than now for his first home run in a Blue Jay uniform. The 3-1. Outside ball 4. The bases are loaded. A couple big misses from Peterson, who I think has got to be done at this point. That was an ugly looking couple of last pitches. And Jeremy Hefner's going to go out to the mound. Interesting. Second mound visit of the inning, kind of, but I believe they didn't rule the last one a mound visit because it was an injury visit, so you can send the pitching coach back out again and not have to yank the pitcher, rather than if last one was a true mound visit, they'd have to take him out of the game.
Yeah, they're probably talking about how they're going to attack Jimenez if he in fact does stay in this ball game. But I actually don't hate this matchup. If you're the New York Mets, you probably would rather have Andres Jimenez in the batter's box, left-on-left matchup, than having to come to Anthony Santander and throw him a good pitch over the heart of the plate. We'll see how they attack him.
Yeah, that's a good point. You get the left-on-left advantage here. Bases are loaded, though, and he's been wild the last 2 batters, says Peterson. His first pitch to Jimenez, and he hits him, and that's going to force in a run. Fastball inside. Peterson saying that he threw the elbow out in front of it. I don't think he has much of an argument there. Coming to the plate is Tyler Heineman. Up to third goes Guerrero. Up to second Santander. And Andres Jimenez, by taking a pitch in the arm, has brought home a run. Now 2-1 for the Mets over the Blue Jays.
Well, that's the downside of loading the bases. You have nowhere to put anybody. If you hit a guy in Andres Jimenez, the run scores. But I still like the Andres Jimenez matchup versus David Peterson better than the Santander. But fortunately for the Blue Jays, it worked out in their favor.
That'll knock David Peterson out of the game after 4 2/3. He leaves with the bases loaded and 2 outs with this pitching change, brought to you by Home Hardware. Cover all your project spaces with the Bring Beauty Tone home sale. Let's go over to our host today, Show Ali.
Thanks very much, Ben. Let's have a quick check of the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. And hard not to start with the NHL on a historic day like this. Alexander Ovechkin with a very apropos goal to break Wayne Gretzky's all-time goals scored record against the Islanders. Let's hear it, courtesy of Monumental Sports.
Neutralized 13 of the last 14 shorthanded situations against them. Strome crisscrossing with Chikrin through center. Send in Wilson on the flank. Cross ice, Ovechkin fires. Score! The chasing days are done! Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL.
Great call from Joe Beninati. The crowd going absolutely bonkers. And a very Ovechkin-esque goal, too. An absolute howitzer from the left circle for number 895. They did straight up stop the game at around 12 minutes of the second period for an on-ice ceremony, including speeches from Gary Bettman, Gretzky himself, all of which, if you missed any of it, you can catch on Sportsnet's various social media pages. The game about 15 minutes to go in the third period. Again, you can watch this one on Sportsnet 360. The Islanders currently enjoying a 3-1 lead over the Capitals. We also have some more games later on, including Blue Jackets at Senators. Puck drop goes just after 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. Sens on their way to locking down the first wildcard seed in a likely date with whoever wins the Atlantic Division. Blue Jays baseball, as always, is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you, Show. Max Kranick is into the game. Right-hander for the Mets will make his 4th appearance of the year, 2nd of the series. Trying to keep the Mets on top. 2-1 for the Mets. Blue Jays just brought in a run on a hit batter, and the bases are loaded with 2 outs for Alejandro Kirk. First pitch, up and away, ball 1. David Peterson really lost it at the end of his start. Back-to-back walks and then a hit batter. After the Heineman double, that scored a run. 1-0, called strike. Great pitch from Kranick, right on the upper and inner edges of the zone.
Well, I don't know what the specifics of why David Peterson was hunched over. I can only imagine it's a lower back issue.
1-1 to Kirk. Outside, 2-1.
But I can tell you this much. He didn't look like the same guy after he was hunched over. He let a lot of pitches arm side high, and that's probably why he came up and in to Andres Jimenez and ended up hitting him.
The 2-1. Kirk pops it up, back of the plate, in between home and first. The catcher Singer to make the play and end the inning. The Blue Jays get 1-on-1 hit, but they leave the bases loaded. 2-1 for the Mets, middle of the fifth. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hear the Masters exclusively on SiriusXM. Hi, this is Mike Tirico, and there's nothing like the Masters.
Rory McIlroy, he's thinking grand slam.
The beauty of the azaleas, the passion of the patrons, and the best golfers in the world vying for a green jacket.
For birdie, 16, it's on the way and in. Scotty Scheffler can put one arm in the jacket now.
It all makes for one of the most iconic weekends in sports. Join me for live coverage of the Masters beginning Thursday, April 10th on Masters Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and the SiriusXM app.
Wake up! Wake up, everybody! This is Steve Phillips from the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio. Join me and former Major League Baseball players Eduardo Perez and Xavier Scruggs as we react to all the latest news and scores across baseball and have plenty of fun along the way.
Steve, you were so right about that.
I don't know if anybody else thinks we're funny, but I think we're funny.
Why are you putting us or we into this?
The leadoff spot, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hear the Masters exclusively on SiriusXM. Hi, this is Mike Tirico, and there's nothing like the Masters.
Rory McIlroy, he's thinking grand slam.
The beauty of the azaleas, the passion of the patrons, and the best golfers in the world vying for a green jacket.
For birdie, 16, it's on the way and in. Scotty Scheffler can put one arm in the jacket now.
It all makes for one of the most iconic weekends in sports. Join me for live coverage of the Masters beginning Thursday, April 10th on Masters Radio, Channel 92 in the car, and the SiriusXM app.
In season or out of season, the number one place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
Sportsnet Radio Network.
Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Bottom of the fifth inning, Toronto in Flushing taking on the New York Mets and trailing 2-1 after getting on the board on a bases-loaded hit-by-pitch from Andres Jimenez in the top half. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left is Chris LaRue. Bowden Francis back out, taking on Hayden Singer, the catcher and 9-hitter. Righty's pitch. Hit on a line and down in left field for a base hit. Singer aboard for the second time today in 2 tries.
It's a good job from Singer there. He was all over that fastball from Bowden Francis. Bowden Francis just trying to sneak a quick strike in there, but Singer was all over that pitch.
I think you're thinking probably if you're Singer, he really shouldn't have walked me last time. That caused the 2-run inning. So you got to get ready for that first pitch strike because Francis certainly was not going to walk him again.
Right. Especially with Francisco Lindor coming up next. Juan Soto, Pete Alonso going through the gauntlet right now.
Last time that Bowden faced the top 3 with Singer on first, 2 runs came in to score. Now a stoppage as an object on the field gives the Mets fans a little bit more time to sing the Temptations as Francisco Lindor hits for the 3rd time in the game. Lindor stepping in, switch hitter bats left, taps the far corner of the plate twice. Runner on first, no outs. And again, we're going to have a stoppage. And that's going to be a pitch clock violation going against the Blue Jays, I believe. So it's 1-0. Kind of unclear, though, to be honest. We'll let you know when we know. Francis' pitch to Lindor is hit foul.
Well, looks like it's still 0-1 after that foul ball from Francisco Lindor. But Doug Eddings came out in front of the plate, and he was holding on to the mic pack that's attached to his belt. So I don't know what was happening with him.
The 0-1. Down and in, 1 ball, 1 strike. Also pointed one finger up like he was indicating something, but
who knows? Looks like it's 1-1 though.
Yeah. Sanger being held on at first by Guerrero. 1-1 to Lindor. Swing and a miss. Dropped in the big curveball and a huge hack. Missed from Lindor, 1-2.
That was a dangerous pitch from Bowden Francis. Francisco Lindor was all over that thing. He just happened to swing and miss.
The 1-2. Outside with a heater. Francis still under 70 pitches as we're in the 5th inning. Well positioned to go forward. But they'll need to get some tough outs here. Starting with Lindor, runner-up in National League MVP last year. And now he drops the splitter in low. Ball 3.
You can see just how confident Francisco Lindor is right now. By looking at his body language, he looks like he's ready to swing that bat.
Hits in 5 straight, including his single today. Full count. Nobody out, runner on first. The pitch. Hit on the ground up the middle. Fielded by Bichette. Shortstop steps on second for 1. Throws to first. 6-3 double play. 2 outs.
What a big pitch from Bowden Francis. In a 3-2 count, he comes right over the outer third of the plate with that fastball. Francisco Lindor hit it off the end of the bat. A little weak ground ball for 2 quick outs.
Probably his biggest pitch of the start thus far, because you get 2 outs and you wipe the bases clear for Juan Soto. First pitch. Hit foul, 0-1.
Outside of that Hayden Singer leadoff walk in that bottom of the 3rd inning, Bowden Francis has looked like Bowden Francis. He's pitched really, really well for the majority of this game.
I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. A lot of attention on the pitching, but often that happens from the outside. When the team just isn't scoring runs, they're asking starting pitchers to be perfect. 2 runs in 4 2/3 innings is more than good enough right now from your number 5 starter or number 4 starter in your rotation. The 0-1. Swing and a high drive. Right field, backing up Santander. He'll make the catch in front of the track and end the inning. Make that 5 innings of 2-run balls so far from Francis, keeping the Blue Jays in it. It's 2-1 for the Mets as we go to the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Here at Home Hardware's Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno sale, everyone's saving on everything they need to tackle their reno project. Like bringing their living room into this century with 25% off Canadian-made Beauty Tone Pure Interior and Specialty Paint. Or tackling that bathroom reno with up to $200 off Max shower units. That's better. Earn and redeem Scene Plus points during the Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno sale. On now at Home Hardware and Building Centers.
Law & Order Thursday on City TV.
We're charging him with manslaughter.
3 Law & Orders on one epic night.
It was premeditated. It was planned.
Law & Order at 8.
He told me to is not a legal defense against murder.
SVU at 9.
Covering his ass, I'd start thinking about your own.
Followed by the new season of Law & Order Toronto Criminal Intent at 10.
Nothing justifies murder. How about we start with the truth?
Law & Order Thursday, all new, 8/7 Central on City TV.
But you got no confidence like me.
Hi, this is Will Wagner, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Work too hard, can you pay me?
Mets 2, Blue Jays 1 as we go to the 6th inning. Blue Jays at Citi Field. And Max Krenick, the reliever, out for a second inning of work. His pitch to Ernie Clement, swing and a miss, strike one. Clement with 2 walks today has not registered an at-bat yet. The 0-1. Swing and a drive to center field, hit right at Jose Siri. He makes the catch on the liner, 1 out.
He didn't even have to move at all. Maybe a couple of steps to his left. An easy fly ball off the bat of Ernie Clement.
So 1 out, and we see our first substitute this inning with the lefty starter out and a righty reliever in. Blue Jays bench should start getting some run. In for Davis Schneider is Alan Roden. Roden will pinch in that spot. 0 for 2 day for Schneider. Been a real nice last couple days for Alan Roden. The pitch. Down and in, ball 1. You look to yesterday, he went 2 for 3 with a walk, a single, a double, and 2 runs scored. The 1-0. Swing and a ground ball, yanked foul, 1-1.
I think the most impressive thing when watching Alan Roden is that he's putting together good at-bats. He's not swinging at pitches out of the strike zone, really. And when he does swing at a pitch, he puts a really good swing on it. It's impressive for a young guy, only 25 years old.
1-1, hit back foul, 1-2. Other left-handed bats on the Blue Jays bench, by the way, Will Wagner and Nathan Lucas. Thought Wagner might pinch hit in the spot of Ernie Clement to lead off this inning, but they elected to stay with Clement. The 1-2. Way high, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball zipped by the eyes of Alan Roden from Max Krenick, who's a 4-seamer slider, curve, and sinker. Right-handed pitcher. 2-2. Breaking ball, swinging bunt up the first baseline. Fielded by Krenick. The pitcher throws high, and Alonso makes a nice play leaping to make the catch and landing back on the bag. 2 down.
Well, Max Krenick definitely isn't comfortable throwing that baseball to first base. You can see him kind of short-armed it and tried to place it over there, and it was almost a wild throw into right field. Luckily for the Mets, it wasn't.
Alonso both had to leap and come down, but he also switched which foot was going to the bag because he jumped up and left. Really nice play from the first baseman. Tyler Heineman up, hits it back foul, 0-1. Switch hitter is turned around now to bat from the left side after he doubled last inning from the right side and came in to score as the lone Blue Jays run today. Two to 1 for the Mets. 2 outs, top of the 6th. Base is empty. 0-1 offering. Swing and a fly ball hit foul down the right field line. 0-2. Krenick set, glove above his belt. He kicks and deals. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Elevated at 96 to get Heineman and end the inning. Sets down the Blue Jays in order to keep it 2-1 Mets. Middle of the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Tune to alerts from the Weather Channel for the latest information on the major storms in the Ohio Valley, producing destructive storms and major flood risks.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantori. When severe weather is impacting any part of the country, alerts from the Weather Channel for live simulcast of the Weather Channel for the latest information to keep you safe and informed.
For continuous coverage of the Ohio Valley storms, tune to alerts from the Weather Channel on the SiriusXM app. Just search weather.
Every night after the final out, the Round Trip Roundup brings you the scores, highlights, and analysis from every game across Major League Baseball, all in less than 30 minutes.
Swung on and missed, strike 3 and a no-hitter.
It's the perfect way to get caught up on all the night's biggest home runs and best performances.
In a high drive, deep right center.
It's It's the Round Trip Roundup on MLB Network Radio. Every night on SiriusXM Channel 89 and every morning on the SiriusXM app.
I'm John Palmorosi, host of the SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown. Hear our conversations with Hall of Famers about the challenges they overcame on the journey to baseball immortality.
It is a hard game, and mentally it's hard.
I used to go to bed crying. They pretty much knew I was going to have lung surgery after the season. I wasn't for sure. Would I ever play baseball again?
The Road to Cooperstown is the official podcast of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. Episodes are available now on the SiriusXM app or wherever you get your podcasts.
24/7, 365 coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
At Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Show Ali is our host today, Nick Blackmore, our producer, and Tom Young, our technical director. 2-1, the Mets lead the Blue Jays. Mets batting in the bottom of the sixth inning. New left fielder for Toronto, Alan Roden, after coming in to hit for Davis Schneider. But it's still Bowden Francis on the mound with 72 pitches so far. He'll face the meat of the order for the Mets. Pete Alonso leading off, Nimmo and Winker behind him. The first pitch. Breaking ball down and away, 1-0. Been a real nice start to the year for Pete Alonso. A hit and a hit by pitch today, 1-0. In the dirt again, 2-0. Alonso just smoking the ball so far this year. The average exit velocity off his bat is 96 miles an hour. The 2-0. Outside and high, ball 3.
And again, you don't want to fall behind 3-0 to the leadoff hitter, especially if Pete Alonso's standing in that batter's box. Now you have to come back with something in the strike zone because you definitely do not want to walk him here.
3-0. Fastball on the inner edge, strike one.
You're going to throw a fastball. That's where you want it. Inner black. Impossible to hit, even if you're Pete Alonso.
Alonso with 53 home runs as a rookie, was Rookie of the Year. The 3-1. At the knees, strike two.
Good pitch.
Up and in and then down and away.
It's a big pitch here. Do you throw another fastball? You throw that split finger.
Heineman goes to his right knee to the pitch comm, sets the glove low. The 3-2. Splitter, hammered foul, and they'll do it again.
Even though Pete Alonso hammered that baseball, it was still a good pitch. Most big league hitters are probably way out in front of that, expecting something hard there in that situation in this count. But Pete Alonso's so good, stays back and hammers that thing foul.
3-2 pitch now is lined to left and down for a base hit. So fastball middle down, and Alonso got there to rip it over to Roden. He's now 2 for 2.
I'd rather that happen than walk Pete Alonso there. A good fastball down in the zone. Maybe could have been outside just a little bit, but I would much rather a base hit there than a walk.
Just from a mental standpoint?
Right. You at least want to give yourself a chance to get an out there. There's no reason to walk a guy in that situation.
Tyler Heineman out to the mound to talk to Bowden Francis. By the way, Chad Green is getting loose for the Blue Jays. With that, we'll also take a look at the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. After all the offseason drama, Red Sox fans cheering for Rafael Devers as he hits his first home run of the season. Planted it on the monster to give Boston a 2-1 lead over St. Louis in the bottom of the fifth at Fenway Park. First of a doubleheader. Second one will be on Sunday Night Baseball, and we'll have a radio call for you. Not me and Chris, but Sportsnet Radio Network will have Sunday Night Baseball for you coming up later. I think that one starts at 7 tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll be relaxing, probably on the recliner, so I will not be here during that game.
No, but we'll watch. Red Sox coming up tomorrow for the Blue Jays. First pitch to Brandon Nimmo, inside ball 1. Other St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard updates. The Pirates have extended their lead over the Yankees. It's 4-1 for the Buccos in the bottom of the sixth. 1-0. In the dirt, 2-0. Former Blue Jay and former Yankee Isaiah Kiner-Falefa knocking in the most recent Pirates run with a double that scored a returning Pirate in Adam Frazier. And in the other AL East game going on right now, or one of the other ones, Kansas City up 4-0 on Baltimore. Royals with a chance to win the series over the Orioles. 2-0 to Nimmo, called strike, 2-1.
That's a big call right there. That fastball from Bowden Francis was off the plate outside. Could have fallen behind 3-0 to Nimmo.
It's been a pitcher-friendly zone today. Right on left, the 2-1. Hit well, right field on a line, base hit. Alonso scurries up to second, back-to-back singles for the Mets to start the bottom of the sixth.
Well, that's what happens against a good lineup when you fall behind batters. He fell behind Pete Alonso 3-0, fell behind Brandon Nimmo 2-0. Eventually, you have to throw something hittable, and he threw 2 hittable pitches to those 2 guys. 2 pretty good line drives, too.
With New York's Biggie Smalls blaring out through the speakers, Jesse Winker comes up to the plate for the Mets. First and second, nobody out. 2-1 for the Mets over the Blue Jays, bottom of the sixth. Francis staring at Alonso at second, deals home. Winker showed bunt, pulls it back and takes a curve for strike 1. Interesting to see Winker bunt. He was the best offensive player for the Mets yesterday. 2 triples and a double.
Big spot, though. Nobody out. Runners on first and second. I wouldn't mind bunting them over either in this situation.
Corners in, middle back, 0-1. Winker swings and fouls it off his foot. 0-2. Yesterday marked the 26th time in Mets history that a player had 2 triples in the same game. Mets franchise goes back to 1962. No one did it last year. Most recently, 2 years ago, Lindor had done it. The guy who's done it the most, Jose Reyes, did it a bunch of times as a New York Met. 0-2 pitch hit foul by Winker, still 0-2.
Well, I'll say this. 1 questionable triple yesterday for Jesse Winker.
You could argue 2 questionable triples yesterday for Jesse Winker. I think he'd be fine with that. He's not a triples guy. He only had 3 triples in his fairly long career coming into the game yesterday. Now he's got 5. Another 0-2. High fastball hit foul.
Tyler Heineman nodding his head, telling Bowden Francis that was a good pitch. They wanted that thing just a little bit higher than that. Jesse Winker probably would have swung through it if it was a ball higher.
It was in the zone. You probably wanted it out of the zone, ideally. Francis pitch count now nearing 90. Chad Green continuing to loosen up. 0-2. Splitter in the dirt. Winker lays off.
Good job by Jesse Winker laying off that tough pitch. It was a ball out of the hand, though. So I always say, if it's a ball out of the hand, most good big league hitters will probably lay off of it.
Francis set, takes a deep breath, kicks and fires. Outside, ball 2.
94 miles an hour from Bowden Francis. Still got some gas in there after pitch 89.
As a reliever, he was regularly mid-90s, more in the low 90s as a starter. 2-2. Foul tip, strike 3. Elevates at 93 miles an hour and gets Winker 1 out.
Good pitch. Jesse Winker very clearly thinking something off speed. Probably a split finger in that situation. 2 good fastballs in a row.
And it's going to be the last pitch that Bowden Francis throws as he gets up to 90. Chad Green, who's coming into this ball game. A pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware. Cover all your project spaces with the Bring Beauty Tone home sale. Let's go over to today's host. Here's Show Ali.
Thanks very much, Ben. Let's check in on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. Another reminder that Alexander Ovechkin has broken the all-time goal scored record from Wayne Gretzky's .894, .895 scored right around the 12-minute mark of the second period today. Unfortunately for the Capitals, with about 2 minutes to go in this game, the Islanders are up 4-1, the lone goal being Ovechkin's goal. Either way, you can catch the last couple minutes of that game on Sportsnet 360. If you missed the goal itself or any of the ceremony that took place at center ice on Long Island, you can catch it on Sportsnet socials. We also have some more games later on. Blue Jackets Sens. Puck drop goes just after 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. The Panthers, they'll take on the Red Wings. Puck drop at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. That one will be on Sportsnet and Sportsnet 360. And a few more Canadian teams will get on the ice later tonight. The Habs, they're in Nashville to play the Predators. That's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Montreal getting some terrific output from captain Nick Suzuki on their way to presently occupying the second wild card. They enter play today 4 points up on the Rangers for the final playoff spot. And given their status right now in the second wild card, it would likely set them up for a date with the Capitals in the first round if standings hold. A little bit later on tonight, we'll get the Canucks in the second half of a back-to-back. They'll take on the Golden Knights in Vancouver. You can watch this game on Sportsnet Pacific. Listen to it on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver. Canucks Central postgame will follow. Puck drop of that game just after 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Let's get you back to the action. Chad Green on the mound in relief of Bowden Francis. With the call, here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. The right-hander and former Yankee making a start against, or rather an appearance against the Mets. 5th appearance of the season for Chad Green. Struggled in his first 2 against the Orioles, gave up homers in both, then had 2 scoreless against the Nationals. This is his first outing in this Mets series. He comes in with 2 runners on, Alonso on second and Nimmo on first, 1 out, and Mark Vientos, the right-handed hitting third baseman, stepping up for New York. Fastball slider for Green. The pitch is a heater up top, ball 1.
The fastball velocity hasn't quite gotten there yet. That fastball there, the first one to Mark Vientos, 93 miles an hour.
Green sets, kicks, and deals. Fastball low, 2 balls, no strikes.
I know he's not the same guy that he was, obviously, when he was with the Yankees, but when he was with the Yankees, he was regularly 96, 97 miles an hour with that good four-seam fastball.
Even last year, he averaged 95.5 on the four-seamer. Next pitch is a slider outside. He's fallen behind 3-0 to Vientos. Righty set at his chest. The pitch. Fastball in there, strike 1.
Good pitch. You definitely do not want to walk Mark Vientos here. I know he's 1 for 2 in this ball game, but he's just hitting 121 on the season.
The 3-1. Swing and a foul ball to the right. Full count.
Vientos is 4 for 33 this year. Have to make a good pitch here.
And that's with 2 hits in his last 4 at-bats. He'll ask for time, Vientos. Tough start for him. It's an interesting moment a couple games ago. Frustrated. He hit a ground ball to third. Didn't run out of the box very hard. As a young player, he's often running out. And the ball got bobbled. He would have been safe probably, but instead got thrown out. He swings and fouls back the 3-2 to keep us at a full count. Francisco Lindor was seen pulling him over after that play and talking to him. Not everyone runs on every ground ball, but Vientos even admitted the frustration was seeping in for him with the early year struggles. Another 3-2. Ball 4. Couldn't get him to chase the slider low. Bases are loaded.
Not a terrible pitch, but in that situation, you want to throw something at least in the strike zone, maybe down and away. Chad Green gets on top of that slider just a little bit too much, and it was well below the strike zone. A good take from Mark Vientos.
One out, bases loaded, bottom of the 6th. 2-1, Mets over Blue Jays. The pitch to Brett Beatty, grounded foul, 0-1.
Good job getting ahead right there. That's step number 1, getting a first pitch strike in a big situation like this. Bases loaded, 1 out.
Lefties are 1 for 8 against Green this year. The 0-1 and a swing and a miss from the left-handed hitting Beatty. 0-2.
Now you have to expand the zone. Can't throw another fastball middle like that one.
Infield is playing in. I wonder if Beatty's speed has made the middle infield a little more worried about the opportunity to turn a double play. So everyone playing in, 0-2. Up and in, ball one. Often in a situation like this, bases loaded, one out, you'd see corners in, middle infield back. But Beatty can definitely run.
Yeah, if I was in this situation, I'd probably bring everybody in as well. Really tough to double up Brett Beatty.
The 1-2. Fouled off to the left. Green, though, not much of a ground ball pitcher either way. He is living up right now with the heater. He'll go down with the slider. He's looking for a swing and miss.
Yeah, if you're Chad Green, you're definitely wanting a strikeout in this situation. So I'm throwing either a breaking ball below or a fastball up. He's good at that fastball, that good four-seam fastball above the strike zone.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. High heat on the outside corner, and that's the second out of the inning.
And that's exactly what he wanted to do there. A good four-seam fastball that stayed true, kind of rising as it passed through the strike zone. A great pitch. Tyler Heineman pointing out to him, telling him that was a good one.
And 95 from Green there for the punch-out. 2 down, still the bases loaded. Runners on second and third belong to Bowden Francis, and here's Jose Siri. The pitch. Slider hit in the air, center field. Straw barely has to move. Takes a step in, makes the catch, and ends the inning. After a walk to start it, a job well done from Chad Green. He strands 3 runners, no runs in the inning for the Mets on 2 hits, and it's 2-1 New York as we go to the 7th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Here at Home Hardware's Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno sale, everyone's saving on everything they need to tackle their reno project. Like bringing their living room into this century with 25% off Canadian-made Beauty Tone Pure Interior and Specialty Paint. Or tackling that bathroom reno with up to...
Hey, you! Yeah, you! I'm talking to you! The baseball fan hanging out with us, most preferably a Toronto Blue Jays fan, hanging out with us here at the best live hangout every single game on Toronto Sports Insider. Attention Blue Jays fans, if you are looking for wall-to-wall coverage of every single Toronto Blue Jays game, this season, you're at the right place. Real-time reactions, game breakdowns, and all the latest news on our Blue Jays. We're covering every pitch, every home run, every big moment all season long, and we want you here for the ride. So hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a game, and plus, join in on our live chat streams. Let's make this a Blue Jays season to remember. Go Blue Jays, go. We'll see you in the chat.
In unison with this pitcher.
Does he ever have a knowledge of the strike zone?
Framing pitches with precision and a steady hand.
Kirk's done it again.
Be one of the first 15,000 fans at the ballpark on Wednesday, April 30th to get your Alejandro Kirk bobble arm. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com. Lights up, let's go.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
It's Ernie Clement with the RBI single. 1-0 Toronto.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
2-1, the Mets lead the Blue Jays. Top of the 7th inning. Toronto in New York City trying to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Mets, and it's a new pitcher for New York as we start the 7th. Righty Reed Garrett in. His pitch to Miles Straw. Called strike 0-1. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Blue Jays saw Garrett in game 1 of this series. The 0-1. Inside. He went 2/3 of an inning, did Garrett. Struck out 2. Came in with 2 runners on, and he punched out Jimenez and Kirk back-to-back. The 1-1. Called strike. Third pitcher for the Mets after the starter Peterson and then Max Kranick. Garrett kicks and deals. And Straw fouls off a sweeper at the last second to keep himself up there.
Yeah, Reed Garrett doesn't have a ton of success at the big league level. An ERA north of 5, 87 ball games. But he's really used that split finger well over the last couple of seasons.
Is 1-2. Outside with the heater. He's got really good stuff. I mean, that was a fastball at 97. He could throw a sinker at 97. He's got the cutter and the sweeper.
He's got good stuff. Actually surprising looking at his career stats.
2-2. Down and in with the splitter. That was nasty, but Straw laid off. Full count. 16th rounder by the Rangers out of VMI, Virginia Military Institute, in 2014. Debuted against the Blue Jays in 2019. The 3-2. Check swing, called, strike 3. Borderline pitch, borderline swing. Either way, Miles Straw strikes out looking.
Yeah, Miles Straw telling Doug Eddings that ball was up or in. Couldn't read his lips, but that's a tough cutter that really didn't cut. One of those backup pitches where you expect it to break a little bit more, but it doesn't really move. Watching the replay, it actually clipped the black on the inside. A good pitch from Reed Garrett.
Garrett's second batter is Bo Bichette. First pitch, strike, 0-1. By the way, the pitching change for the Mets brought to you by Home Hardware. Cover all your project spaces with the Bring Beauty Tone home sale. Bichette hits it on the ground up the middle. Running across the bag, Lindor throws to first. 2 outs.
Such a good split finger. So much action through the zone. It's a hard pitch, too, at 90 miles an hour. Again, looking at his career stats, you kind of scratch your head as to why he hasn't had more success than he has.
Looking good right now, trying to keep the Mets on top. It's 2-1 New York. 2 outs, top of the 7th, and he'll deal to Vlad Guerrero Jr. Called strike. Vlad 0 for 2 with a walk. Blue Jays in general have only 3 hits in the game. Double from Heineman, single from Straw, single from Kirk. The 0-1. Inside. The one Blue Jay run somewhat given to them after the Heineman double, 2 walks and a hit batter. Mets starter David Peterson walked 5 and hit someone today, but mostly did not get punished for it. One. Bounce to the plate, 2 balls and 1 strike. The pitch to Guerrero. Swing and a hard grounder to short. Picked up Lindor. He'll throw to first. And that's the inning. 1-2-3, top of the 7th for Reed Garrett. 2-1 Mets as we get to the stretch. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center. Streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Centre. Visit timbermart.ca.
Gary, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year?
Obviously, it's because of Armstrong Bird Food.
I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something.
Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all.
So all this time, you've been chasing snacks?
Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at armstrongbirdfood.com.
Timber Mart is Canada's Building Centre. Your home team advantage with the right materials and the right price. Project know-how that's brought together a wealth of plans and solid advice. Trust your team at your locally owned Timber Mart. Find your location at timbermart.ca.
Let's see some talent. Tuesdays on City TV. The stage is set for incredible performances.
I think you're friggin' amazing.
The judges are looking for the next $1 million act.
You devastated the stage.
That will leave you speechless.
You make me laugh. You leave me in awe. That was amazing.
All new Canada's Got Talent. Tuesdays 8, 7 Central on City TV. Or stream it on City TV Plus.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
A game-tying blast from Bo Bichette.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome back to Blue Jays Baseball. Show Alley with you. The Blue Jays and Mets are in action down at Citi Field. The Mets enjoying a 2-1 lead over the Blue Jays as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Quick check of the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard. The Raptors getting back in action today. Their 4th final game of the season. They are 28-50 on the year. They do start in Brooklyn against the Nets right now. This game about 30 seconds old. You can watch it on Sportsnet 1 with Matt Devlin and Alvin Williams. Elsewhere in the world of sports, over in F1, the Japanese Grand Prix wrapping up today with a win for Red Bull and Max Verstappen. He narrowly beat out McLaren's Lando Norris and birthday boy Oscar Piastri, who finishing second and third, respectively. A pretty slim margin for Verstappen. He converted from pole position for the 4th consecutive time at the Suzuka circuit, this coming after he had just 2 wins in his 16 previous Grand Prix races. Elsewhere in sports, in the NFL, some extensions to discuss. First, newly acquired Raiders QB Geno Smith signing an extension in Vegas this past week. 2 years, $75 million. Incentives could push the total to $85.5 million, includes $66.5 million guaranteed. He's now tied to Vegas through the end of 2027. In Arizona, the Cardinals locking down one of their top receiving threats, tight end Trey McBride, getting a 4-year extension worth $76 million with $43 million guaranteed. The AAV sits at $19 million, the highest ever for an NFL tight end, beating out Travis Kelce. He sits at $17.125 million a year. The deal will keep the Cardinals Pro Bowler under contract in the desert through 2029. Blue Jays Baseball is brought to you by Crown Rest Protection. Here's Ben and Chris.
Thank you very much, Joe. Chad Green back out for the Blue Jays. 2-1 Mets, bottom 7. The pitch to Hayden Senger. Called strike. Green came in for 2/3 of an inning in the 6th, helped close the Bowden Francis line. 0-1. Down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Francis ends his day 5 1/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, a hit batter, 6 strikeouts. The 1-1. Swinging butt in front of the plate. Heineman ditches the mask, fields it bare hand, throw down to first. 1 out.
That's a big out for the Toronto Blue Jays, especially because you have the big 3 coming up now. Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, and potentially Pete Alonso.
You can see part of why they like Tyler Heineman in that play. That's a play that's probably a bit trickier than it looks. But he very calmly got to that baseball, got the out in plenty of time, and now it's Lindor at the top of the order. The pitch. Fastball hit in the air to left. Rodin back, right near the warning track, makes the catch. 2 outs.
And it's so much easier to throw that first pitch fastball to Francisco Lindor when nobody's on base and you have an out. Good job by Chad Green so far in this inning.
Green's thrown 17 pitches. He's retired 4 of 5 batters he's faced. And it looks like he'll remain in there to take on Juan Soto.
I don't mind this. Make a couple of good pitches down and away with that good fastball.
First pitch went down and in with the heater. He missed his spot. Ball 1. Soto 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. The 1-0. Swing and a hard single through the right side. Might be more. Cut off on the warning track by Santander. Soto chugging for second, and he's in there. Make that a double for Juan Soto, his first hit of the game. And it's a runner in scoring position for the Mets with 2 outs.
That's a really good swing from Juan Soto. They tried to go away with the fastball. Chad Green kind of left it up just a little bit and middle, and Juan Soto, as he often does with mistakes, hammered that thing into right field for a double.
For Soto, his 3rd double of the season, 8th hit overall. He's on second for Pete Alonso. Two to one for the Mets, 2 outs, bottom 7. The pitch. Foul to the right. Alonso yet to be retired today. He's 2 for 2 with a hit by pitch. 0-1. Hit high, left field. Roden back, makes the catch in front of the track, and ends the inning. A scoreless inning in 2/3 for Chad Green. Around the Soto double, he pitches a scoreless bottom of the 7th, and we go to the 8th. Blue Jays down only 1. It's 2-1 for the Mets. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Did you know you can get home and away feeds for every MLB, NHL, and NBA game on your phone?
3 for the win. He got it!
Every game, all season. It's all on the SiriusXM app.
It's out of here!
Sports, the way they're meant to be heard. With your hometown announcers just a tap away.
It is gone! An incredible finish!
Search for your team and tap the plus sign to add it to your library. Every game, all season. Get closer to your team with the SiriusXM app.
He shoots, he scores!
VSiN, the sports betting network, is back on SiriusXM. Go to channel 158 for informed wagering and fantasy advice from familiar voices like Gil Alexander, Paulie Howard, and Mitch Moss. Plus, SiriusXM mainstays Adam Shine, Rich Gannon, and the guru, John Hansen. We're getting you ready for the upcoming games with a finger on the pulse of the latest news and the moving lines and odds. VSiN, the sports betting network, is now on SiriusXM 158 and on the SiriusXM app.
Baseball is back. It's former general manager Jim Duquette, and every Sunday on the front office, we have you covered on everything happening across Major League Baseball.
That's right, Duke. It's former big league GM Jim Bowden. Injuries, extensions, promotions, demotions, and trades. We'll have you covered on all the news.
We'll bring you the front office perspective as the season heats up.
Front office with Jim Duquette and Jim Bowden, Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win whichever fantasy sport you play. Right now on Channel 87 and always on the SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
Top of the 8th inning, and a new pitcher for the Mets. Left-hander A.J. Minter is into the game. This pitching change brought to you by Home Hardware. Cover all your project spaces with the Bring Beauty Tone home sale. 2-1 for the Mets over the Blue Jays. Minter is the third reliever out of the Amazons bullpen. It'll be his 4th game of the season. Bit of a rocky start to the year, 6 3/4 ERA. His pitch to Anthony Santander. Called strike. In a second, we'll take a look at the Bet365 standings. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on game props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. 0-1. High and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. No finals yet today, so the standings coming into today. The Yankees leading the division at 6-2. Blue Jays in second, 5-4. Rays and Red Sox both 4-4. Orioles 4-5. 1-1. Called strike. 1-2. Mets, on the other hand, 5-3. 1 game back of the 6-2 Phillies, who are in a tough one right now with the Dodgers. Mets with a win could tie the Phillies today, depending on how the Dodgers-Phillies game ends. 1-2, swing and a miss by Santander. Strikes out on the four-seam fastball, 1 down.
That's a good fastball, up and away, 95 miles an hour from A.J. Minter. It was just a really good at-bat, really good sequence. Blows Santander away with that fastball.
Minter, a good left-handed pitcher with over 350 innings of major league experience. Four-seamer, cutter, and change. Left on left, his pitch to Andres Jimenez. Called strike. Minter on a 2-year, $22 million deal, signed this offseason with the Mets. 0-1 is a cutter down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Pretty good money for a lefty reliever.
You get the double add if you're the Mets. Not only do you add a lefty, but you're going to be competing, whether it's wild card or division, with the Atlanta Braves, and you get to take him away from Atlanta too. The 1-1. Swinging a foul back, 1-2. Plus, we're talking about Steve Cohen's team here. When you drop $765 million on your right fielder, 22 for your lefty reliever, it's just a drop in the bucket. One out, base is empty. And the 1-2. Foul tip, strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts, 2 down.
That's a tough matchup for Andres Jimenez. A.J. Minter with such good life on that fastball through the strike zone just blows him away right there with 94 up and away. Another good at-bat for A.J. Minter.
Mets' pen has been really good this year. ERA under 1.5 or around 1.5. Entered the series second best in the big leagues. Pitched to Alejandro Kirk. Swing and a miss. Kirk has one of the 3 Blue Jays hits today. Rolled a single through the right side in the second inning. And Minter's going to get a pitch clock violation. Doug Eddings had talked about this before. He was getting ready to go before Alejandro Kirk had set in the box. So it's actually a pitch clock violation for going too fast rather than too slow. Makes it a 1-1 count. Minter sets near his chin. A breath and the pitch. Hit foul by Kirk off of his front foot. Stepping gingerly onto that left foot now. It's 1-2.
Ben, I'm sure most people didn't know that was a thing. You can get a violation for going too quickly.
And in Doug Eddings' defense, he had warned him, he said, on an earlier pitch, and we could hear that earlier. Because the hitters have such limited time with the pitch clock, they got to set up early on in that counter to give the pitchers time to vary up their speeds. They want to respect that little time the hitters have and not have guys have to be ready with 17 on the clock, 16 on the clock. Kirk ready now, looking out at Minter. 2 outs and a 1-2 count. Southpaw's pitch. Swing and a line drive, base hit into left field. 2-knock day for Alejandro Kirk. And wouldn't be shocked if the Blue Jays get a pinch runner aboard now as Kirk represents the tying run.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And here comes George Springer. That's actually a pretty good sign for the Blue Jays, who didn't start today because he slammed into the right field wall in yesterday's ball game. But that was a good swing from Alejandro Kirk.
Springer, the leading base stealer for the Blue Jays last year with 16, was only caught once. He's on first. Ernie Clement at the plate. 2 outs. Minter looks at first, kicks, and deals. Called strike.
Big hole on the right side of that infield. Pete Alonso's holding on George Springer at first. Brett Beatty is shaded almost directly up the middle. We've seen Ernie Clement kind of hit weak ground balls through the right side before.
The 0-1, no, it's going to be a step and throw to first. Springer all over it, dives back in. Now the 0-1. Runner takes off, pitch high, a ball, throw to second, not in time. George Springer dives in head first and steals second base to put the tying run in scoring position.
That's so important that George Springer just took second base. Now you have to come through if you're Ernie Clement. A big at-bat here, big pitch. George Springer stole that base pretty easily.
He gambled, went first move, betting that Minter wouldn't throw over twice in a row, and he gambled right. Single could tie it, the 1-1. Called strike, although it popped out of the glove of Singer. It's 1-2.
If you're Ernie Clement, you probably want that pitch back. A little fastball on the inner part of the plate. About knee high. He could have done damage on that thing.
Clement 2 for 18 to start the year, although he does have 2 walks today, 4 on the season. 1-2. In the dirt. Trapped there by the catcher Singer. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Springer leading off second base. It's Brett Beatty playing behind the bag, trying to keep him close. The 2-2. Clement swings and hits it back behind him, foul. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Good job staying alive there from Ernie Clement. Tough fastball down and away, mid-90s. Told you before, A.J. Minter's got really good stuff.
2-1 Mets. 2 outs, runner on second. Top of the 8th. The 2-2 again. In the dirt, ball 3. If Clement continues the inning, Alan Roden will hit next for the Blue Jays.
It's a tough matchup, left on left.
The 3-2. Swing and a line drive out to right field, and it's going to be caught on the run by Soto to end the inning. 1 hit for the Blue Jays and a stolen base to get the runner in scoring position, but Springer left there. Still 2-1 Mets, middle of the 8th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Here at Home Hardware's Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno Sale, everyone's saving on everything they need to tackle their reno project. Like bringing their living room into this century with 25% off Canadian-made Beauty Tone Pure Interior and Specialty Paint. Or tackling that bathroom reno with up to $200 off Max shower units. That's better. Earn and redeem Scene Plus points during the Bring Beauty Tone Home Reno Sale. On now at Home Hardware and Building Centers.
Barry, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year?
Obviously, it's because of Armstrong bird food.
I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something.
Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all.
So all this time, you've been chasing snacks?
Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at armstrongbirdfood.com.
Law and Order Thursday on City TV.
We're charging him with manslaughter.
3 Law and Orders on one epic night.
It was premeditated. It was planned.
Law and Order at 8.
He told me to is not a legal defense against murder.
SVU at 9.
Covering his ass, I'd start thinking about your own.
Followed by the new season of Law and Order Toronto Criminal Intent at 10.
Nothing justifies murder. How about we start with the truth?
Law and Order Thursday, all new, 8/7 Central on City TV.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball hit to center field. Varsho with a dive, and he makes the catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership of the Sportsnet Radio Network. Mets 2, Blue Jays 1, bottom of the 8th inning. 2 left-handed hitters will lead off this inning for New York, so the Blue Jays go to their bullpen for the southpaw Brendan Little, who will pitch in his 2nd straight game. Little's pitch. Low at the curve, check swing, appeal down to 3rd. He didn't go, 1-0. Pitching changes brought to you by Home Hardware. Cover all your project spaces with the Bring Beauty Tone home sale. Brendan Little against Brandon Nimmo. The 1-0 pitch. Curve called a strike. Big favor there for Mettings. 1-1.
Still a pretty good pitch. But Brendan Little came into this the ball game yesterday and threw 6 straight balls. So you can almost guarantee he's trying to throw strikes here.
Swing and a miss on a sinker down and in. 1-2. He faced Nimmo yesterday in that inning that ended up getting 2 runs on the line of Little, and he got him to fly out to center. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him on the curve, 1 out.
I'll tell you what, when Brendan Little is throwing strikes at the bottom of the strike zone, he's almost unhittable. That knuckle curve there was in a perfect spot, down and away below the strike zone. Nimmo just kind of wails at it there and comes up with nothing. But I don't know if you noticed, but Brendan Little shaved his mustache after last night's outing.
Change of scenery. And interesting here, Jesse Winker was due up, the guy who hit the game-tying triple off of Brendan Little yesterday, but they're going to bring in Starling Marte, or the Mets, to hit for Winker instead. So they eliminate the left-on-left matchup. Marte on as a pinch hitter for the 2nd time in as many days.
Yariel Rodriguez is also getting loose in that Blue Jays bullpen.
One out, bases empty, bottom 8. 2-1 Mets. And little deals to Starling Marte. Swing and a miss at the sinker, 0-1.
So much movement away from Starling Marte's bat. Like I said, when he gets on top of that sinker, almost impossible to hit.
The 0-1. Foul tip on the sinker, 0-2. Long-time Pittsburgh Pirate Marte. Mets have become the team that he's played the second most games with. Brief stops in Arizona, Miami, and Oakland. 0-2 is in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He was really good back in the day. When he was rolling, he was an absolute stud. Slowed down just a little bit. 36 years old now, but he was really good for a long time.
2-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glover. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him to chase the curve outside. Back-to-back punch-outs for Little.
I tell you what, we talk about Tyler O'Neill's muscles whenever we see him. We never talk about Starling Marte's.
I know that you've talked to me about Starling Marte's.
He's pretty jacked,
Maybe it was off air, but you've definitely talked to me about that. 2 down, Mark Vientos to the plate, a right-handed hitter. The pitch. Backdoor curve, strike 1. Vientos starting to heat up, it seems. 1 for 2 today with a walk. Lefty Little kicks and deals and misses low with the curve. On the Mets side, Edwin Diaz is getting loose. The Mets closer came in yesterday in a tie game and pitched a scoreless 9th. Picked up the win in relief. The 1-1. Hit on the ground, back to the mound. Backhanded stop by Little. Underhand flip to first. And a very nice inning to keep the Blue Jays in. And 1-2-3 sets down the Mets in order. We go to the 9th. Blue Jays trailing 2-1. Rodin, Heineman, Strauss scheduled to hit for Toronto. We'll see Edwin Diaz next. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming on the Sportsnet app and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Rediscover revolutionary riffs.
Chuck Berry, B.B. King,
Joni Mitchell,
Jimi Hendrix, and sizzling solos.
Eddie Van Halen, Bonnie Raitt, Eric Clapton,
Jimmy Page. Tap into International Guitar Month's 6-string spotlight on fiery fretwork. SiriusXM Guitar Greats. Channel 105 for a limited time. And always at home on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or other internet-connected devices.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
Out of here! Go, hey, Ohtani Connect!
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy basketball to getting you ready for the NFL Draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
We begin our quest for another championship right now. Winning is everything. It's it. It's all there is.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the SiriusXM app.
Get ready for the 2025 NFL Draft on SiriusXM NFL Radio.
With the first pick, the Tennessee Titans select.
We caught up with the top prospects as they get ready to start their careers in the NFL.
Miami Hurricane quarterback Cam Ward.
My journey's been unbelievable.
And hear pick-by-pick coverage of the 2025 Draft from Green Bay starting April 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 and the SiriusXM app.
And it's gone!
Jays fans, this is John Schneider, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
There's the exclamation point for all assembled here at Rogers Center.
At Radio Network.
9th inning, Blue Jays down 2-1, looking to avoid a sweep, and they only have 3 more outs to play with. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. It's a pitching change for the Mets, brought to you by Home Hardware. Cover all your project spaces with the Bring Beauty Tone home sale. The trumpets are blaring as Edwin Diaz comes on looking for a save. Diaz has not allowed a run yet in 3 outings this season.
Yeah, we talked about this last night when he came into the ballgame. Doesn't quite have the stuff that he had when he was really good with the Mets earlier on in his career, but still has very, very, very good stuff.
Luis Angel Acuna in at second base. Brett Beatty out of the game. First pitch to Alan Rodin. Hits him on the elbow. Breaking ball ran inside and clipped Rodin, and you couldn't have asked really for a better start to the inning for the Blue Jays.
No, and Alan Rodin, we've seen this once before this season. When that ball's coming at him, he doesn't move. He allows the ball to hit him. One of the few guys in the league that does that, but it's a good start if you're the Toronto Blue Jays.
Toronto, by the way, so it's Rodin, Heineman, Straw that we're going to hit this inning for sure. They have Wagner and Lucas on the bench. We were trying to talk through some situations. They're going to leave Tyler Heineman in here to bat. First pitch to Heineman, called strike. I thought maybe leaving Heineman in meant that they might try and sack bunt with him. But it looks like he's swinging away after taking strike one. Corners are in, 0-1. Swing and a foul back, 0-2. 98 elevated from Diaz, who's pure fastball slider.
Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily would have sack bunt here. I'm not playing for the tie.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit a double in a gap here down the line, keep the inning alive.
Heineman does have the lone extra base hit for the Blue Jays today, a double in the fifth, 0-2. Swing and a foul back again. Nathan Lucas is on deck right now, taking swings, likely to come in for Miles Straw. The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike three. Got him on 97 outside corner. One out.
That's really tough. Almost unhittable from Edwin Diaz, especially when you're thinking slider here. I'm sure Tyler Heineman had that in the back of his mind, but he just zipped that fastball by him at 97.
Nathan Lucas in for Miles Straw. Pinch hitting with the tying run on first base. And Diaz stepped off the rubber quickly, so Lucas backs out of the box. Straw ends his day 1 for 3. The pitch. Swing and a line drive. Left field. Caught chest high by Nimmo. Well struck from Nathan Lucas, but just didn't find the right spot on the field. 2 down.
Yeah, off the bat, I thought that might sneak into the gap, but it had a lot of top spin on it and came back. Brandon Nimmo with the easy catch for out number 2, but a good swing from Nathan Lucas off the bench.
Blue Jays down to their last hope here to try to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Mets. It's Bo Bichette batting with the game on the line. Tying run on first, 2 down the pitch. Swing and a foul back, 0-1. Bichette saw Diaz yesterday and singled off him to right field. Blue Jays had 2 hits and at one point second and third against Diaz, but didn't score. 0-1. Down and away. Rodin leading off first. The 1-1. And it hit him right on the ribs. 97 on Bichette's lead left side. He stiffened up for a moment. Now he's getting off the protective gear and heading down to first. You don't like to see that. Bo Bichette still clearly in a little bit of pain. But the Blue Jays do get the go-ahead run on base.
Well, let's hope that got him the love handles and not the rib cage. Oof. That's a tough spot to get hit either way. 97 right in the ribs.
It's the 3rd hit batter from Mets pitching today.
Bo with a grimace on his face, kind of walking around at first base, taking a breather.
Well, Rodin got hit by mid-80s slider. That was 97 that caught Bichette. He's on first. Rodin's on second. 2 on Mets, 2 outs. Vlad Guerrero at the plate. First pitch is hit on the ground right to the shortstop Lindor, up to second, and that'll do it. for the game. The Mets win 2-1 today and sweep the Blue Jays, quieting the momentum from Toronto's Washington sweep.
Yeah, another wasted good start from the Toronto Blue Jays starters. Bowden Francis just doing what Bowden Francis does, but the offense was really quiet today. A couple of big chances, but they just couldn't come through. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. late in the ball game, obviously in the top of the ninth inning, just couldn't come through with a runner at second base and 2 outs. But again, a quiet day from this Toronto Blue Jays offense.
2-1 the final score. We'll step aside, come back, wrap it up, and get you over to Blue Jays Talk with Show Ali and Julia Kreutz. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Of all the things that TimberMart can lend a hand to build, community ranks among the most important. And with the TimberMart Local Leaders Initiative, we strive to recognize those dedicated to making their hometowns a better place to live, work, and play. From now to June 25th, you can vote to select our grand prize winner. They'll receive a $10,000 grant to support their outstanding initiative as TimberMart's Local Leader of the Year. To vote, visit local-leaders.com. TimberMart, Canada's building center.
Enter Night Mode.
It's a stylish Friday night in the city.
Every Friday home game.
No doubter.
Where we celebrate everything that makes our city one of a kind.
Any day the Cavs.
Would you always feel like part of the show? On Friday, April 18th, be at the ballpark early and get your Blue Jays City Connect Bomber Jacket giveaway presented by Enercare. The first 50,000 fans will be geared up for spring nights in the city. City Connect Fridays. Night Mode. Lights up. Let's go. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Barry, do you ever wonder why we fly north every year?
Obviously, it's because of Armstrong bird food.
I thought it was because of the weather or migration or something.
Oh, Steve, you need to spread those wings and open your eyes, partner. Truth is, it's the seeds, the nuts, the berries, the good stuff. Armstrong's got it all.
So all this time, you've been chasing snacks?
Bingo! You think I'd flap these wings thousands of miles for anything else?
Armstrong, Canada's premier bird food. The reason birds fly north. Find Armstrong at Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, and other fine retailers. Or learn more at armstrongbirdfood.com.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
They got him. Strike him out, throw him out, double play.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
2-1 the final score in favor of the New York Mets. They sweep the Blue Jays out of Citi Field in a pitcher's duel in Game 3. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Appreciate you sticking around. Chris, let's look back today at the start of Bowden Francis. It was a mixed bag at times. There was some traffic, but the line ends 5 1/3, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, a hit batter, 6 strikeouts. What did you think of it overall?
Well, I thought overall it was another solid start from Bowden Francis. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect. But for the majority of this game, he was making pitches when he had to. He walked the leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 3rd inning, which is never a good thing. And obviously that runner came around to score when he gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. But outside of that, he was vintage Bowden Francis, throwing a lot of good fastballs in good locations, and that split finger was, as it always is, a solid pitch for him.
Bullpen came in between Green and Little to combine for 2 2/3 scoreless with only 1 hit allowed. The issue for the Blue Jays, as it really has been all series, is that the bats never got going. David Peterson walked 5 and hit a batter in the game. Overall, between hit batters and walks, Mets pitching issued 8 free passes, and the Blue Jays, Chris, only managed 1 run out of that.
Yeah, you're not going to win many ball games when Tyler Heineman and Miles Straw are the catalysts for whatever's going on. You really have to expect Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Anthony Santander to come through in big situations. And like I said at the end of that ball game, that's a big spot. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. comes up with the tying run on second base, and he swings at the first pitch down below the strike zone. That just can't happen in that situation. The Blue Jays will be better when those three are all going at the same time. But for right now, they kind of have to weather the storm and just win ball games when they can.
4 hits total today from Toronto, Heineman, Straw, and then 2 from Alejandro Kirk. The top 4 in the lineup was 0 for 13, although they did combine for 3 walks and were hit by pitches twice. The Blue Jays, though, fall in this one 2-1 to the New York Mets. Get swept in the series despite only giving up 9 total runs in the series, 3 a game. They do not pick up a win at Citi Field. 1 run for the Blue Jays, 4 hits, no errors, 10 left. The Mets with 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 7 left. Max Kranick, the win in relief because Peterson couldn't make it through 5. First win as a Met for Kranick. Bowden Francis with a tough luck loss. And Edwin Diaz, around the hit by pitches, was quite sharp in the 9th inning. He gets his second save of the year. 2 hours, 32 minutes, 12-degree day in New York in front of over 40,000 at Citi Field. And the Blue Jays drop it to go to 5-5. The Mets are now 6-3 on the season, starting to look like that team people were envisioning when they made all the big moves in the offseason. So the Blue Jays get swept, but it's just their first road series of the year. We got 2 more road series before they come back home, including tomorrow when we expect Easton Lucas to make his second major league start, coming off 5 scoreless against Washington. He'll go up against Richard Fitz as the scheduled starter for the Red Sox at Fenway Park. 6:45 is the time of first pitch. So tune in around 6:30 for game coverage starting on that one. Thank you so much for tuning in today. From everyone involved, our technical director, Tom Young, our producer, Nick Blackmore, our host, Show Ali, and my partner, Chris LaRue. I'm Ben Schulman. Hope you have a great finish to your weekend. We'll see you tomorrow, and stay with us. Blue Jays Talk with Show Ali and Julia Kreutz starts right now.
Well, Jules, of all the baseball games ever played, this was certainly one of them.
Yo, yeah. This was certainly a Blue Jays baseball game, I want to say, Show.
The series could have been an email, frankly. That's what this could have been. I'm not sure we needed to spend all this time to watch the Blue Jays do what they did in Queens. They take a 5-2 record into Flushing. They leave with a 5-5 record following a 5-0 loss, a 3-2 loss, and then today, a 2-1 loss. Like, honestly, if you had told me they'd be 5-5 after 10 games before the season started, I'd probably have taken it. But
sure.
But right now, Jules, the vibes, they be bad.
Yeah.
After getting swept in New York, 3 straight losses, a 2-1 defeat at the hands of the Mets.
It's pretty funny how that goes, right? Show a 5-5 record at this point in the schedule, especially, not the end of the world by any means, but there are so many different ways to get to a 5-5 record, and the way that this happened has just been pretty demoralizing. And the fact the Blue Jays scored 3 runs in all of these 3 games here, left with no wins, squandered very, very good starts from their starting pitchers. Just everything that they were hoping to avoid and everything that they were hoping to turn the page on after how last year went, and we're just right back where we started this. It's just it's a bad way to get to 5-5, Show. Not the end of the world, but you clearly see that there's a lot that needs to improve for this team to get where it needs to go.
That is Julia Kreutz. I'm Show Ali. You're listening to Jays Talk on the Sportsnet Radio Network. We're live on sportsnet.ca as well and on the Sportsnet app. Give us a call, 416-870-0590, 1-888-666-0590, star 590 on your cell. You can text us as well, 590-590, name and location. The People's Text line always open. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. I mean, look, this one for me does not fall on the pitching. Bowden Francis largely was good to decent to good, I would say. I know he kind of ran into some trouble towards the end. The walks, I think he was pretty efficient early on, but I think the walks kind of hurt the pitch count towards the end. I thought Chad Green and Brendan Little both looked really, really good. Chad Green especially, was very impressed by him, considering what we talked about yesterday and the whole, the advanced metrics don't necessarily support how good he's likely to continue to be, but he looked great over inning in 2/3. But it's not on them. It's not on the pitching today. I mean, you allow 2 runs over 9 innings, and you lose because you only scored 1 run. I mean, it's on the offense. Like now the offense, if you only look at this series, because of course you can't, like things are not in a vacuum, but just in this series, because they just wrapped it up, the offense scored 3 total runs over 27 innings of baseball. Like no matter how early it is, no matter how much we all expect these guys to heat up, no matter how much of a positive outlook, and I tend to be glass half full, but no matter how much of a positive outlook you can have on the season going forward, because there are 152 games to go, but you can't have that. That is absolutely abysmal. Here's a fun, secretly and not so fun stat for you. Bo, Vladdy, and Santander in 3 games at Citi Field combined for 1 extra base hit, and it was the Bo double yesterday.
Yeah.
That is abysmal.
It is. And, it's not like the Blue Jays were without opportunities. I mean, they loaded the bases again, for crying out loud, in the top of the 5th inning. And then nothing, right? Andres Gimenez gets hit by a pitch. That brings in a run. Alejandro Kirk pops up. And that is that. At this point, Show, I believe we're past unacceptable, because obviously the top of this lineup needs to produce. And frankly, for all the talk about being flexible, being creative, trying new things, this lineup looks pretty locked in place right now, and not in a good way. Why is Kirk still hitting where he is if he's not producing? There are certain things to me that don't make sense in the grand scheme of things, as well as on the micro level. And when you look at 10 runners left on base, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position, the way that it was today, including the final out coming from a bat that you expect will get $500 million, whether that's in free agency or sooner than that, that just does not look good. And that swing from Vladdy, I'm sorry, with Edwin Diaz struggling with command in that 9th inning, very clearly, you cannot be swinging at the first pitch like that. Just can't. And I understand that there's pressure to deliver. I understand that, you are the big bat in that moment and you are expected to come through. That's just not the way to do it, Show. And when we start to see Vladdy deviate from his game plan, deviate from what makes him good, and very clearly there is something else going on in his head, then this is what we get, and this is where the offense goes. Yeah, and Vladdy, I think I heard Ben Schulman say during the radio broadcast that Vladdy's chasing more now than he had at any point last year. So we're not even seeing, because if you recall last year, he started slow as well last year, but in 2024, he was taking walks and he was getting on base at a pretty decent rate, even if it wasn't through power. And then, remember, then there was some concern last year that he had turned into like a singles machine, and then he finally showed some power in the back end of the season. Now, that's all very possible that happens the same way this year, but that he is chasing and is not showing off the eye that I think we all believe he had, that's a little concerning for me, right? I think it's concerning because the focus, especially in the last 48 hours, has been, Vladdy's going to get a $500+ million contract in present day value imminently, essentially. It's going to happen, if not today, it's going to happen this week, has been what all the smoke has been about. And then you see Diaz plunk not 1, but 2 guys. And by the way, you hope Bo is okay. I mean, Alan Rodin was like a statue. Like that ball just went off his elbow and it's like he didn't even feel it, and then immediately ran down to first base. And then Bo took a 97-mile-an-hour pitch right to the rib cage. So that's gotta hurt.
That's gotta hurt.
Remember, it's cold in New York, so that must have been pretty brutal. And good on him for even staying in the game at that point.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you could see the telecast showed on Sportsnet, he clearly was uncomfortable, kind of just trying to walk it off at first base, and I don't blame him at all for that. But then you have those 2 events happen. Like you said, Diaz struggling with command, and Vladdy swings at the first pitch. It's just, take a couple pitches, man. Wait for your pitch. That's it. That is what you've made a career of dating back to 2019. What's going on, man? So, I don't know. It's frustrating to watch. Your point about Kirk hitting where he is a good one, too. I mean, there's a text here from Forbes in Toronto. And Forbes, nice to hear from you. Always enjoy your text. Forbes says on the text line, 590-590, name and location, why are the Blue Jays still living in 2022? Other than what could now be considered a fluke Silver Slugger season, what has Kirk done to prove anything other than a bottom-of-the-order hitter? Since 22, his OPS has been sub-700, his home run totals in single digits. He repeatedly overswings and pulls off the ball. And this is your number 5 hitter in the AL East? Good luck with that. Sadly, you can't have him in the 9 hole, clogging up the bases, so they should be hiding him in the 7 or 8 hole. Let's face it, great defensive catcher, but offers little or nothing on offense. liability every time he comes to the plate in a situation where he could hit into a double play. And I mean, I like Kirk, but I find it hard to disagree with anything Forbes said.
Yeah, and listen, we've seen this in the past. His value is very much on the defensive side, and when he has to catch more often, his offense suffers. That has been the case every single time. And I understand that when you hear him talk after he signed his extension, you hear John Schneider talk about him. It's clear that the Blue Jays believe that they have found something else with Kirk, but the results are just not showing. So yes, he can get his preparation in Florida before the
What's up, baseball fans? Thank you so much for coming back and hanging out here at Toronto Sports Insider for every single game of the Blue Jays season, this 2025 season. You're home for all things Toronto sports right here on TSI. It's finally here, opening day for our Toronto Blue Jays. After an offseason filled with roster moves, expectations are sky high. Be an electric atmosphere at the Dome, and we'll be breaking it down right here on Toronto Sports Insider. Be sure to like, subscribe, and jump in the chat and talk some Blue Jays baseball. Let's go Blue Jays! We'll see you in the chat.
Continue with this body conversation. If you're coming into a season and turning down $500 million+ contracts, you need to understand that a MLB season is 162 games and not 80 games. And you need to understand that if you're that guy, you need to hit in clutch situations. And man, since his best year ever, he just doesn't do that at all. And I don't know who he thinks he is, why he thinks he deserves this money. You really need to step it up, dude. It's cool to be clutch when we're the worst team in baseball and we're down 9 runs every game. But when our pitching staff is going out there and carving the world up, you need to be that guy. Look at the teams. Look at the Mets. With Alonso killing it, Lindor killing it. And then you look at the Yankees and their whole lineup's crushing. What is our excuse? And I'm just hoping that if it continues on this season, that doesn't go into May, and we can make the changes that need to be made on this baseball team. Because, dude, this is almost 10 years of these boys doing absolutely nothing for us, and it sucks. It's sad to watch. Thankfully, the bottom of the lineup's raking. Rodon's awesome. I love that kid so much. I agree with everything you guys said about Kirk. That's really all I got to say is, how long is the leash for Vladimir Guerrero this year? Bo's doing what he has to do. Santander sucks, but I think that'll come around. Vladdy needs to figure his shit out, and I would not give that guy $400 million if he continues to play the way he continues to play.
Ryan, thanks for the call. Kind of forget sometimes how the passion of Blue Jays fans. Also,
very understandable.
No naughty words. Just a reminder for people who call in to Blue Jays Talk going forward.
We forgive you, though.
Either way, Ryan has called in before, and it's not the first time, but I do appreciate it for Ryan calling in as always. No, look, he's not wrong about the offense. I mean, I told you that stat about Bo Vladdy Santander with just the one extra base hit over 3 games versus the Mets. I mean, you look at one of their better chances today, and I believe it was the top of the 5th inning. Heineman gets on with a leadoff double, a few quick outs for Straw and Bo. Vladdy gets aboard with a walk, so I feel like I can't diss him too much with a walk because, as we were talking about this during the game, I mean, a walk is still a positive outcome, but when you can have an even more positive outcome from your batters. And Juan Soto is kind of the same way to a slightly lesser degree for the Mets so far through their early goings of the season as well. But these guys can do more damage by swinging the bat versus not swinging the bat, but still a walk is a positive outcome. Santander also gets aboard with a walk to load the bases, and then Jimenez gets hit by a pitch to force in the only run of the game. And David Peterson was really struggling towards the end. And I mean, you could see it on the TV, but he clearly tweaked something in his back, or he had some kind of back spasm or something really cropped up there. And he lobbied to stay in the game and then just lost it completely, culminating with Jimenez getting hit by a pitch. And then Kirk pops up with the bases loaded and the inning is over. And like that's the top of the order. Right. And now, again, I'm not going to complain too much about walks, but you have a prime chance to do real damage. And it's instead pop-ups and flyouts. And that's concerning. And again, 10 games, I know it's relatively early, but I think 10 games is enough time, if not to make sweeping conclusions, it is enough time to be concerned about what you see, which is why I find it hard to disagree with anything the texters are saying. And we're going to get to some more texts in a sec, or Ryan is saying on the phones.
And frankly, it's, to me, the questions that arise are, is this a matter of approach, or what is the information that is being given to hitters right now? And why is it that they can't square up on pitches that are clearly made for hitting? Because how many times did we hear, not just today, but also yesterday, Ben Schulman say something along the lines of, oh, so-and-so just missed a cookie. Oh, you would want that pitch back because that is one that you can do damage with. That is one that you can drive. So many times these Blue Jays hitters have just let pitches straight down the middle go, or they have been mistimed in their swings, or they haven't swung at all when it's clearly a pitch that you can actually do damage with. So what is it that is going on right now? Is it a matter of approach? Is it a matter of game plan, or just digesting information? These are the questions that, again, we need to ask ourselves. And it was something that the Blue Jays attempted to address in the offseason. They brought in a new hitting coach and surrounded the players with slightly different personnel. All of that is great, but it's not yielding results. And it's clear that the opportunities are there. And for whatever reason, these hitters just can't do anything with them.
Chris from Mount Albert on the text line, 590-590, name and location. He says, this is just lather, rinse, and repeat. Good enough starting pitching all series, but invisible bats. Very tiresome to watch the same thing year after year after year. And I think a lot of people feel the same way as Chris. There's one here from David in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, I believe. And it says here, time to have a serious chat with Vladdy and move him down in the lineup below Springer and let him earn his second spot. No free lunch for Vladdy. I mean, like Vladdy, he's not going to be moved lower than third, for example. But I do think just maybe there is something too, and people have texted in about this before. I'm not like, this is not a new take by me, but maybe there is something to the idea that Vladdy is more comfortable batting third instead of two, right? And so maybe you do have to contrive a way, and at this point it would be contriving a way, but maybe you have to find some way by hook or by crook to get Vladdy and Santander 3-4, maybe Bo bats 2, and who's also been comfortable in that spot before, and you just find a solution to the leadoff problem, right? And I mean, Bo has been fine, but I don't know. I mean, there's another text here from here it is. It's from Darren in Bolton saying, show the Jimenez experiment in the 4-hole should now be over as well. The hole is up in the zone, has been exposed since the 4th game of the year. And now, look, I think it can still turn around, but I think